Maybe we could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. Um, you, instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, um, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, "Fight, fight, fight!" And I think that's, I mean, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is America. That is strength under fire, and so that's a big part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here. Is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant, I have to
Not
be honest.
pleasant.
I said there was
I
blood. I
mean,
had
being
more
shot is
blood.
not
I didn't
much
know
fun.
I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very, uh, I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. I was telling somebody you have instances like this, or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation, and I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear,
Yeah.
and because it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, "Bullets, bullets!" Get down, because I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly, and we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter, and so it hit me at an angle that was far less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was
Yeah.
for those
Split
people that
second.
don't believe in God. I think yeah, we got to all start thinking about that. You have to, I'm a believer now. I'm more of a believer, I think, and a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have said that to me, actually. But it was amazing that I happened to be turned just at that perfect angle,
Yeah.
and all because I put down a chart on immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart even more now than I
I
ever.
mean, maybe it's a sign.
Yeah,
Maybe that's a sign.
it's an immigration sign.
You
But
highlighted a serious issue, and
yeah,
at that moment, the
that's
the, the,
right.
the bullet missed hit your ear, but missed your head. I mean,
Well, the amazing thing is that the sign, I said, bring down that sign on immigration, and it was literally about an eighth of a second where it would be good, and after that, it was going to
yeah,
be a disaster, no matter which way you were facing. But it just had that perfect angle, which was
yeah,
exactly at this shooter. Very sad situation. Such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey,
yeah,
who a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man. And a friend of mine came up, Elon, and said, "I'd like to give the family some kind of help." And I said, "All right, that's great." He said, "Do you mind?" I said, "I don't mind at all." And he wrote out a check for $1 million, gave it to the wife, and you know, uh, she said, "This is really nice, but I'd rather have my husband back," which is a nice thing for
sure,
somebody to say. To be honest, she's great. The family is great, and we raised a lot of
yeah,
money for them and for two other gentlemen are unbelievable people. Also, they were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the two, and they were really hit tough, both of them
yeah,
equally. And we thought
yeah.
my first question was because I heard bullets flying over me. I said, "How many people were killed?" Because we had a massive crowd there, a tremendous
Yeah,
thousands and thousands of people, and there was no land. I mean, it was all people. So I said, "How many people have been killed?" Because I knew there were other shots being fired,
sure.
and they said, "We don't know yet, but some people have been badly hurt." And I have to give the Secret Service sniper, they call him, or sharpshooter, but sniper,
Yeah,
because he didn't know there was a problem. He's an extraordinary shot, obviously, and he didn't know there was a problem. And he was
Yeah.
able to pick it all out within 5 seconds. And he used one bullet from very far away, I guess probably about 400 yards. The shooter was 130, but he was on the opposite side of the field and the podium. And he saw the smoke and the flame from the gun, immediately recognized it, and immediately took a shot. And it was one perfect shot from very far away. And if he didn't do that, Elon, he would have. I mean, if he would have, a lot more people could have been badly hurt and killed. So I have to take my hat off to him, because that's also a surreal. You know, he's been with them for 23 years, and he's never had anything like this. And all of a sudden he has to act, and it's a very tough thing to act and to be shooting somebody. But he saw the gun, saw the smoke, saw the flame from the gun, very far away. Obviously has very good eyes. He's got very good vision, which I assume you have to have in that particular work. But he took aim very quickly, and they say it was approximately 5 seconds from long range, one bullet. If that didn't happen, because the shooter had a lot of bullets, he had a lot of cartridges up there with him. So
well, I mean, that's clearly, he was very competent in taking that shot to stop the attempted assassination. But I mean, there does seem to be, I mean, some pretty significant failings elsewhere in the system. Like, there's just no way that, like, how on earth does a shooter get on a roof 130 yards away? That seems crazy. I think most people people are wondering how on earth could such a thing happen.
Well, you know, I view it as two ways. There should have been nobody on the roof. There were people, because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. There were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt and Trump all over it, and she's screaming. And that guy's got a gun. You know, you saw it probably. There's a guy up there with a gun.
I mean, it's like, I guess, I mean, for my part, and I think probably many members of the public are wondering, how the heck are, basically people wandering by pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun. And they're seeing it, but somehow it's not being addressed. That does seem crazy.
Well, they're going to learn from this. The communication between the local police, who sort of had an idea, and then ultimately a man lifted himself up to the roof, could barely do it because he was pulling himself up, and he saw the man with the gun. The man with the gun pointed the gun at him. He thought he was probably going to get shot, but he was like pulling himself up, and because of that, he couldn't get to his gun. And he fell down, actually very badly hurt his leg, his ankle. I hear very badly, but he fell down. And he did, from what I understand, he did say there's a guy up there with a gun. And the shooting started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. He was supposed to be a very good shot. My sons, Don and Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf, sinking a 2-foot putt.
Yeah, it's not a tough shot.
It's not a long shot. The Secret Service person had the long shot. He had triple the distance, actually. So it was a terrible thing. It's hard. I have to say this about the Secret Service. When I went down, and I went down based on, I think, they're screaming, but other people also, because people saw this happen. You had so many people. One of the miracles was that nobody ran. I mean, if a gun goes off, the crowd control people showed us this. When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of people get killed with those stampedes. We had more people than you'd have at some of these matches or these games, and nobody left. You had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full. And you look at it as it was taking place, and Normally they'd be running. They didn't leave. They saw that I was hurt. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down. And it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. You, as far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see, and
Yeah.
and a lot of press too. There was, many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different, because normally things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras shooting it. So, sort of amazing. But one of the interesting things was that you didn't have anybody flee. You didn't have anybody stampede.
Sure.
Nobody. And there were some people behind me. They stood up and they're looking like, I mean, I tell you, you want to have them in a foxhole with you. I want to meet some of those people, because it's so different from what you heard. But so I was down. But the Secret Service guys, there were bullets flying right over my head. You could hear them go whizzing, and these guys came jumping on top of me, and a young lady, Kate, would jump. They moved so fast, and let me tell you, that took tremendous courage. Now, there was a lack of coordination. There was, obviously everybody understands that somebody that building should have been covered, and
I mean,
that was the big
that,
thing.
like, I mean, looking at the aerial views, that building would be like the #1 spot for a sniper. I mean, it's like if you were to pick, like, what is the favorite, so if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building, the
You're
roof of
right.
that building would be #1.
That would have been the spot.
It's like you can ask for a better location. It's like
no,
#1.
that would have been the spot. You know what people think is when the local policeman, who, by the way, he really he did what he was supposed to do. He couldn't hold on any longer. And then when he got his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with a gun at his head. And when he fell down, again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they think is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. He ran to the site and he started shooting fast. And maybe that's why he sort of missed. I mean, he
but as you
got
said,
me, but
he
it
would have
could have
hit.
been a much bigger problem.
But he totally would have hit if you hadn't turned your head. So, like, there was it was a very near thing.
It was a miracle. If I hadn't turned my head, I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly,
I would not.
Yeah,
I would not be talking.
You'd be talking to me from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's right. We'd be talking from a different place. But it was a very terrible experience. The Butler Hospital, they did such a great job. The doctors were so good. Everybody was so good. There was a mistake. If somebody knew, because people were hearing that, there was just a bad feeling that somebody was around. You know that story now. It's been And if somebody could have said, because they've oftentimes said, like there'd be a lightning storm or something. Because I've done, I think, over 300. I think I did a lot more than that, but we did a lot. And oftentimes they'll say, "Sir, could you wait 10 minutes, please? Sir, could you wait 20 minutes? There's a storm overhead or lightning or something," right? And that happens often. And this would have been a perfect time for that to have happened, but it didn't. It didn't get coordinated. That was the problem.
Well, it was I think your actions in the heat of fire, and like what I find admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual, or it is not. It's not a rehearsed action. And so I just want to say that I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there. And so
thank you very much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up, and I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know. I felt I was good when they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me, and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up, and they wanted, they have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher, and I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else because it was such a lot of blood, and they were sure that I was hit someplace else. And they were saying, "Sir, you were hit more than the ear." I said, "Nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get up." And so I got up, and the crowd didn't know what to think. I mean, this was so many people, and you could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think. And I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them
Yeah.
know that. And they went wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when I
Yeah.
got up because they didn't know, was I alive? You really couldn't tell. When I stood up before the hand, before the, the fist in the air, uh, they didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did. And when I put the fist up, they were just relieved and happy and thrilled, and the place went crazy. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It was a
Well,
terrible thing, but it
it was
was really nice.
incredibly moving. Yeah. Well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn that saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration
Right.
slide. Maybe this,
That's right.
maybe this is worth talking about that. Since
It was.
that slide saved
You're
your
right.
life,
No,
basically.
the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but it was. And I
I
had to
know
be at
that's
that exact angle.
I mean, that's a great one. Saved by illegal
You know,
immigration.
the incredible
100%.
thing though, when you talk about the odds, you had to be exactly at that angle. But the incredible
Yeah.
thing is that the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. It was just a moment.
Yeah.
It's always on my left, never my right, and it's always at the end of the speech. So here
Yeah.
we have it. It's on the right, not the left. It's at the beginning, not the end. And even the people that put it up, they were unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately, fortunately. But I looked to the right, and the bullet came whizzing by, hitting my ear. So it was amazing. But when you think of the odds of that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it would
Yeah.
have been a very different story. It's very much, I say, an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and I'm
Sure.
honored by it. I'm honored by it.
Well, what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted with a
Well, I was
bullet?
going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're going to go
Great.
back in October. We're all set up, and the people are fantastic in Butler. It's a great area. Great. These are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey, killed, and the other two, the families are. I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler, and I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying,
As you
prior
were
to
saying,
being so horribly
so,
interrupted.
yeah,
But
yeah. So rudely interrupted by an
yeah,
assassination
so I was.
attempt.
But no, but the chart,
Some people have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that in my last week we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping. It was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous
Yeah.
chart,
Yeah.
but that was the lowest
Yeah.
point ever recorded. It was a really, I mean, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala and Joe. You see what happened. They just let it go. I had remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that was so good. Uh, Guys like Tom Holman and Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. These are all people that they've been on television. They says the best numbers we've ever had. We had so many different checks, catch and release in Mexico, not the United. We had catch and release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so many things. We had things where many people come in there, they have contagious diseases. We had everything passed. If you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country. So we were setting
Yeah.
literally records, and all I was doing is showing that, and I use it sometimes,
Sure.
and in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that, but they were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart was very important for a lot of reasons.
Well, I mean, would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but but we also need to shut down illegal immigration, and especially unvetted illegal
Yes,
immigration, because and that's not the same as. I think most people who are illegal, but you can't tell a difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that accurately
100%.
represent your position?
I say it
Okay.
very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked.
Yeah.
Because look, Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible. No tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. You know, they had not only tax on tips, but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, you know, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible. And I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job on the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had, I believe, and I think you believe this too, you know, you hear 12 million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country, many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is insane asylums, and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries that are stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you know, you look at, it's so sad, October 7th, because it should have never happened. It's so sad when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they won't do anything. It's all talk. She's incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something, because he's not too good.
Yeah. No, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a secure border. And
secure elections too.
You know, absolutely secure elections. And so it's just essential to have a real border, or we can't function as a country, and our service, you know, our central services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities. But as we were talking about earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that is smooth and efficient and done well, and speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant, I think that I mean, like, one way to think of it is, who do you want on your team? You know, who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to let in people who are gonna, you know, be great contributors to our society and to our economy, and you know, and who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like, in my opinion, actually, I'd say, like, probably most of the illegal immigrants actually are actually good, hardworking people. That's my opinion. But some are not, and you just have this sort of adverse selection process where, you know, if somebody's you know, if somebody's like you know, has a career in theft or robbery, I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here, because we are in such a target-rich environment. I mean, you know, why aren't more people who have a career in, you know, bad things coming here sooner? Because it's a piece of cake to go rob, you know, houses in LA or New York, compared to other parts of the world. And in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, you'll be arrested. So
it's right. I mean, what's happening with crime, and our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I hate to say it, because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing,
think you're
again,
right.
they're
Yeah.
allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them. As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and they're delivering them into
But that's what Castro did.
yeah,
That,
well, he did on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
You know, it was a much smaller scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. You know, this is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be.
Yeah.
And I saw it today in New York where somebody was knifed with a raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters, and started pulling out the knives, and bad things happen today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for murder and all sorts of things. And they're releasing them into our country. And they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people. And it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it because, you know, now she's trying to say she had nothing to do with it. And she's such a liar because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went there. She went to one location which had nothing to do with where the problem is. You know, she went in and out, I guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure, but had nothing to do with the problem is. But she was the border czar, and people can't allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known what happened. You could shut the border down. He wouldn't even know the difference. But the fact is that she was border czar. But if you don't have to call her that, the fact is you could just call her, she was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst ever.
It's simply not working.
No, it's horrible.
Whether it's a question of intention or competence, either way, we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie apocalypse at times. And you know, sometimes you got to sort of wonder, like, is it real or not? So because you see things and you're like, is it real? So I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like seeing this in real time. I actually posted the video like just live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, and I have to say, you know, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly. You know,
these are
people can look at my video and say, hey, you know, these people look friendly. I don't look super friendly. So
these are people that Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And, you know, the caravans are coming in, and they're putting, and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them. But these are people that are non-productive. They are just not productive. I mean, for whatever reason, they're not workers, or they don't want to work, or whatever. And these countries are getting rid of non-productive people in the caravans in many cases. And they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are really brutal people. And they're coming into our country at levels that have never been seen before. And I saw an ad just before I got on the air. I'm walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala saying how she is going to provide border security. Where has she been for 3.5 years? For 3.5 years, we have 20 million people poured in. It's a terrible thing.
I think this, frankly, I think this is a fundamental existential issue for the United States. And if we have another 4 more years of open borders, and it's going to be even worse with another 4 more years, it's going to be even worse than it's been for the past 3.5 years. I'm not sure we've got a country.
You don't
left
have a country
at that
left.
point.
Elon, if they get in, you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. You know, we think of South America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, you know, the four. But it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from
Yeah,
everywhere. And I had to stay in
yeah, I think
Mexico.
this is a super important
Yeah.
point. Like people, it's like basically when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like it's like almost no one was from Mexico. to
No,
be clear.
Mexico less.
It's just
less
it's
than
just the
others.
border. It's just the border with Mexico. But the people coming in, it's Earth, the rest of Earth, and America is only about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything in the
We're
US.
already overwhelmed, Elon. We're overwhelmed. You had to see the news tonight about New York, and I love that place. And what they're doing to it is horrible. What they're doing to it, and all the courts do is they
Yeah.
try and focus on Trump. Okay, let's focus on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election. Elon, what's happened is unbelievable. You have from Africa. From the Congo, they're coming from the Congo, and 22 people came in from the Congo recently, and they're murderers, and they dropped them. They drop them. They take them out of jails, which is very expensive, to maintain the jails. Although they don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. But they take them out of jails, prisons. They take them out, and they bring them to the United States. They deposit them in the United States and say, "Don't ever come back, or you're going to be executed." And they don't want to come back. But they won't come back.
Sure.
But they're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from South America.
Just
they're
Earth,
coming from
rest of Earth,
everywhere.
basically.
And there are a lot of
Yeah,
really
everywhere on
bad
Earth.
ones.
It's just an everywhere on Earth thing, and it's just not possible for the United States to absorb everyone from Earth, or even a few percent of the rest of Earth. It's just not possible. So
Well, Elon, we're going to have to finish this up. We're going to have the largest deportation in history of this country, and we have no choice. Otherwise, we're going to have a country. What they've done to our country. Think of it, with in Venezuela and in some of these other countries, crime is down 50, 60, 70, 80%. And you would be the same. You would have.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50% put into the United States. The same with other countries.
Sure.
Some are at 30%, some are at 50%. They're all different. But the bottom line is they're all going to be at 100%. Why wouldn't you put 100% of it?
Yeah.
And they're doing it right now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat Biden. He failed in the debate miserably. And, some people said, oh, gee, it's too bad. It's too bad he did so badly, or I did well in the debate. The first night they said, wow, one of the people at CNN said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever witnessed. And then 2 days later, they didn't talk about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated. And I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a different.
Yeah.
Look, she hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can do it the nice way, or we can do it the hard way.
Yeah, they just took him out back behind the shed and basically shot him.
What they did with this guy, and I'm no fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, and we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it.
Well,
and we wouldn't have had Afghanistan. But we think of it. You take a few of those events away, and we have a different world. We would also have inflation was caused by oil.
Yeah, no. I think you make an excellent point here, which is that when other countries can, that are thinking about invading or doing bad things, when they're thinking about that, they're thinking about, okay, what's the American president going to do? And do they fear the American president, or is there someone they do not respect and do not fear? And I think they would rightfully be. I mean, but look at that the footage with the assassination. They're like, okay, President Trump is like don't mess with me. I mean, that's like, whereas I think people are not going to be, and they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden, and they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think of that in the context of global security. That's that if the American president is someone that, like, evil dictators are scared of, that makes a huge difference to the security of the world.
So I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years. Just a hoax created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Shifty Schiff, some just bad people, just sick people, frankly. I mean, Schiff is a sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But, they put our country in danger with that stuff, too. They actually, when they make up stories, and you have to fight your way out of it for a long time. But I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest pipeline in the world, going all over Europe. I shut it down. Biden came, and then they say,
Yeah.
I loved Russia. I was a friend of Putin, and I loved Russia. No, he actually said to me one time, he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his pipeline, the biggest pipeline. They were looking at that to fund, and this pathetic president gets in there, and the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers, shuts it down. That was, a massive job that Obama refused to allow.
Yeah.
I allowed it in my first week because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by the way, in a much more environmentally friendly way. It's underground. It's not a truck that catches on fire or a train that catches on fire. But think of it. He shut down the XL pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline.
Yeah.
He shuts that down, and he approves the Russian pipeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, it's inconsistent. Certainly, but I mean, I think it's just worth emphasizing, to listeners, the immense importance of whether the United States president is intimidating or not intimidating, and how much that matters to global security, because there's some real tough characters out there, and if they don't think the American president is tough, they will do what they want to do.
I know every one of
and
them.
that puts the whole world in danger.
Elon, I know every one of them, and I know them well. I know Putin. I know President Xi. I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I know every one of them. And let me tell you, people will say, oh, this is terrible. He said, I'm not saying anything good or bad. They're at the top of their game. They're tough. They're smart. They're vicious. And they're going to protect their country, whether they love their country. They probably do. It's just a different form of love, but they're going to protect their country. But these are tough people at the top of their game. And when they see a Kamala or when they see Biden, Sleepy Joe, they can't even believe it. They can't believe this happened. All the stuff that you're seeing now, all the horror that you look at Israel, they're all waiting for an attack from Iran. Iran would not be attacking, believe me. When I was there, and I say it with respect, because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran, but they knew not to mess around. Iran was broke because I told China, if you buy from Iran oil, it's all about the oil. That's where the money is. But if you buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business with the United States. And I meant it. And they said, we'll pass. They didn't buy oil. Other countries, likewise.
Sure.
You want to buy, you're not doing business with the United States. And they were at a point where they had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for any of these instruments of terror. And it was amazing. In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to believe, actually, especially when you look at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different place. We were respected. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were so respected to a point where when I said don't buy oil, they didn't buy oil, but they had no money, and Israel would have never been attacked. It is zero chance. And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way. And it's the last time we ever had the conversation. He would never have done. I got along well with him. I hope to get along well with him again. Getting along well with them is a good thing, not a bad thing. I got along well with Kim Jong-un. When I met with President Obama just before entering, it's a sort of a ritual. And I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very short period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, "What's the biggest problem?" He said, "North Korea." I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning with Rocket Man and, all the different things.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden I got a call.
Those were some epic tweets, by the way.
Yeah, they
those
were.
like
They were
absolutely...
epic everything. He said that he has a red button on his desk. I said, I have a red button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger and my red button works. And then I called him Little Rocket Man of Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden I got a call from him. And they said they want to meet. They want to meet me. And we met, as you remember, we met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam. And I got along with them great. We were in no danger. But President Obama thought we were going to end up in a war, a nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's got a lot of nuclear stuff, too.
Exactly.
He's got plenty of nuclear. He can do plenty of damage. So
yes, I mean, it's because, people like Kim Jong-un, they respond to strength, not weakness.
Well,
and
he and I had a good relationship. Remember I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't say let's bring up Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked onto his land, and it was an amazing period. But we were not in danger with him because of me. I always say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government and people that are controlling of the people. I mean, I'd mention names, but I really don't want to give them the credit. But we have some really bad, and I say they're more dangerous than Russia and China. If you have a smart president, a president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. I mean, we forced Obama, if you think about it, Obama and Biden and Bush to a certain extent, in all fairness, forced Russia and China together. And if you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got, if you take a look, Iran, and they have North Korea. That's, they call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat. The biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise 1/8 of an inch over the next 400 years. And you'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries now that have significant nuclear power, and we have to not allow anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. Biden did something with Russia. There was no chance of him ever going in. And when I left, and then after I left, they started forming big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things that were so stupid that war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything the opposite. And it's so sad because many more people have been killed in Ukraine than you read about. You don't read about how bloody it is and how disastrous. Hey, look, just in the 2 armies, you lost 500,000 people. And Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine, I don't know if you saw the article recently, and it's true. You don't hear the true story. But if you think about it, Russia's gone, Russia defeated Germany with us, and they defeated Napoleon. They've been around a long time. They're a big fighting force, and it's very unfair. And Ukraine now, doesn't have enough men. They're now using young men and very old men to fight. And we're in a very bad position. And I'm not going to blame exclusively, but I can tell you, I could have stopped that. And a smart president could have stopped that. It wouldn't have happened. But we had a man that actually made it more prevalent. It was so bad. The words that he was using, the stupid threats coming from a stupid face that he was using. I said, this guy's going to cause us a war. He's going to cause us. And let me tell you, it can lead to World War III. That can lead to World War III. The Middle East can lead to. We have numerous places that could end up in a World War III right now for no reason whatsoever.
No, I think you're right. I think people underrate the risk of World War III, and it's just when you're looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare, it's game over for humanity, and it's something that people have, I think, after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are currently a lot of nuclear missiles that have targeting parameters for the United States from
100%.
other countries.
And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to build an Iron Dome over us. Israel has it. We're going to have the best Iron Dome in the world. We need it, and we're going to make it all in the United States. But we're going to have protection, because it just takes one maniac to start something. We're going to have protection, and we're going to have. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? Israel has one. Some other places have one that nobody even knows about, frankly. But Israel has it. We're going to have an Iron Dome. But with all of that being said, to me that's so important, the most important. But with all of that being said, the election's coming up, and the people want to hear about the economy and the fact that they can't buy groceries because they don't have enough money to buy groceries. The inflation has killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases. And this stupid administration allowed this to happen, and it's a shame. And that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discussed the border at great length. It's nice to have a forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, you think Biden could do this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on you.
No, they could not.
So they don't need Elon. They don't need Elon screaming out questions. It's pretty sad when you think that somebody that does this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty sad.
Yes, absolutely.
But the big thing now is the economy, Elon. And as much as I mean, I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't understand that. But it doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need, because if I was president, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. But the thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it doesn't matter what you make. The inflation has eaten you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle income person, you can't afford. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing that's happening. And we'll end that quickly.
Well, I think a lot of a lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending, because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government spends far more than it brings in, that increases the money supply. And if the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services, that's inflation. So really, we need to have we need to reduce our government spending. And we need to re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say, like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not sensible? And we need to live within our means. We're currently adding, I think, $1 trillion to the deficit roughly every 100 days.
That's right.
And the interest payments on the national debt have now exceeded the defense budget. It's on the order of $1 trillion.
It's interest,
and it keeps growing.
I rebuilt our military, largely rebuilt our military. Did a great job on it, which was so important. We had jets, we had fighters that were, and bombers that were 70 years old, and we did a great job in that. Then we gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. They're one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world. They're selling what we gave them. That was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our country. But if you think about, let's go back to the economy. We have to bring energy prices down. Energy started at the price of gasoline. Now your cars don't require too much gasoline, so you have a good, and you do make a great product. I have to say, I have to be honest with you. That doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car, but these are minor details. But your product is incredible. But the gasoline, Elon, is the cost of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That has to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%, and that has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to drill, baby, drill. They stopped drilling, and then they went back to drilling because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won the day after they get into office, this country will go out of business because they're going to go to an energy policy that's not sustainable. Wind and different things. You're not going to have anything. And I know you're a big fan of the AI, and I have to say that AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. So we're going to have to build a lot of energy if our country will be competitive with China, because that's our primary competitor for this on the AI. You're going to need a lot of electricity. You're going to need tremendous electricity, like almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
Sure. Well, just going, back to this, like this basic thing, which that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government overspending. Would you agree that we need to take a look at government spending and have perhaps a government efficiency commission that just tries to make the spending sensible, and so the country lives within its means, just like a person
does. The waste is incredible, and nobody negotiates prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some point. I mean, I went through it, like Air Force, just a thing like Air Force One. One of the first documents they asked me to sign, a general walks in, "Sir, would you please sign this document?" And what is it? Air Force One. That's with Boeing, which is basically two planes, two 747s. And the price was $5.7 billion for two planes. Now, now they're highly sophisticated.
That's insane.
They're even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're very, I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's 5.7.
That's a crazy number.
It's a crazy number. But I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going to do it. I said, who made the deal? Obama and his people. I said, well, then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to do it, I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the truth. But for the exact same plane, I saved one. And I said to Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration and wanting big cost overruns, because they see these dopey suckers in there, and they'll end up getting some of the money back. But I shaved it by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane. And you can now take that and multiply that out times thousands of other items.
Multiply it by
the numbers are astronomical. I agree with you.
Well, I mean, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love
if it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike, and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But, if you look at Argentina.
Well, I'd be happy to help
by the way,
out.
congratulations. I just looked at the number of people that are listening to you and I chat. We'll call it a chat. But congratulations. This is very good. I mean, it's great. And you're an interesting character. The new head of a place called Argentina, and he's a big, he's great. And he's a big MAGA fan, that he ran on MAGA. And he took it to an extreme too. He ran on MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job. It's called Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of hats, he brought everything, but he's doing a big job. He really cut. And I'm hearing
Yeah.
they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. You know, they had like
Yes,
2,000%. They had inflation like not normal inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to have that pretty soon. I think we have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They say it's 48 years. I don't believe it. I think we have the worst. They don't include a lot of the items that should be included, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's just from government overspending and not spending taxpayer money effectively, and having, you know, just like so many departments you can't even name them all. And what Milei is doing is, you know, he's cutting government spending. He's simplifying things. He's having, you know, putting in regulations that make sense. And Argentina overnight is experiencing a giant improvement in prosperity. But it's also a lesson for the United States, which is that Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. You know, in the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous. They have, you know, phenomenal reserves of everything, oil, everything, and it should be prosperous. But if the government's wrong, it impoverishes the people. And so I think we should not be complacent in the United States in thinking that and taking our prosperity for granted, because if with bad government policy, we can run the country into the ground. And that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every list of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually, China's pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7. But we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So we spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has Department of Education, move education. States like Iowa, where states like Idaho, you know, not every state will do great, because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the 50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15 of them, or 20 of them will be as good as Norway. You know, Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, you know, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. You know, they're really well-run.
Sure.
And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of, the land or the sun and the water and the whole thing. You know, there are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you moved education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better, because it'll be a pretty bad situation. But if you think about it, you'll have some of these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than half what it is in Washington. And these people don't care about the students in these, faraway states. And it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah. I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states, then people will naturally move to states where it's better.
Well, like California, as we said, it's a badly run state. I could go through. I got so many friends that are in those states, even if they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do a good at initially. But you're not going to do worse than you're doing right now. And I would say that the cost, you would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you'd have a little
Yeah, yeah.
monitor. You know, you want to make sure they're teaching English as an example. You know, give us a
Yeah.
little English, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
No, but I mean, to what? I mean, some of these governors are doing so badly. I mean, they got so many people moving out of their state. They should get U-Haul Salesman of the Year award because they're driving so much U-Haul
It's
sales.
actually
It's
amazing.
just people moving out.
Isn't
You
it
know?
amazing to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois, so many people are leaving, and you wonder, how do they survive? I mean, how do they survive? I saw where you left California and you moved to Texas. Texas does a great job. But, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, I just wonder, how do these states survive when big businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses and their taxes are already really high? You know, the taxes are among the highest
Yeah.
taxes. You almost wonder, how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job and they're crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not
Well,
a good
I think there's.
situation.
I mean, I think the only thing that's going to force some of these states to change is if they risk bankruptcy and they're not getting bailed out by the federal
Right,
government.
right. Well,
That's
you're
the
going to
only thing
have
that's going to
that.
get them to change.
You remember the
Yeah.
area in California where they had that, where I guess somebody had sticky fingers and they stole a lot of money, and they went into a form of chapter, and it was very nasty
Yeah.
for a period of time. But now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So you know, at some point, something like that may have to happen. But the problem is, you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business, and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So you know what, is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And you know, you have people. I could name every one of them. I got to know every one of
Yep.
these, and some are very good, and some are just horrible.
Well, I think that I mean the larger point here, too, you know, as you're saying, like a lot of people are concerned about the economy, a lot of people are concerned about inflation, and inflation is effectively a tax on people that save money,
Yeah.
and for people that are working day to day, it's just a form of taxation. And if we can solve the government spending problem, we'll solve the inflation problem, which means people will have a better standard of living, and
Yeah.
that's a really big
Well, the
deal.
people that got hurt worst are the people that did it the way they were taught to do it all through, you know, their younger life and their young life and their whole life. The people that saved money and then they got no interest on their money and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated, and we're going to bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. You know, when I look at bacon costing 4 or 5 times more than it did a few years
Sure.
ago, when you look at some of the food products in grocery stores, people go, they can't believe it. They used to be able to buy a whole cart, and today, you know, a lot of people just don't have the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at
Yeah.
it's sticker
I
shock.
think
They call it
yeah.
sticker shock, right?
I think it really just comes, like I said, I think it just comes down to really, I guess, two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which improves living
Right.
standards of the average person, and then if you deregulate, like have sensible regulations, so because a lot of the regulations are nonsensical and cause the cost to be extreme for no reason, but unless you've got effective deregulation, like Reagan did a great job on deregulation in the 80s, but it's been 40 years since we had
That's right.
anyone really. I mean, during your administration, we made some progress, but I think there's an opportunity to make, I think, radical progress with sensible regulation. And if
Well,
if
Elon,
those two things, yeah, those are the big deals.
we set a record. We did more deregulation and more restrictions on all of the different businesses than any other president. Remember, I had the rule for everyone we put in, you have to get rid of 10 or 12. And we did
Yes.
radical cuts on all of that. And a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things that weren't necessary. But we were all set. You know, we had the best economy ever maybe in the world. And then what happened is COVID came in and we had to focus on that. And nobody knew what it was. And I always say I got good marks on economy, good marks on military. We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, you know, I never got the credit that we really deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit, but we were. If had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle-income people, not only businesses. But we did it for businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really start reducing debt. And, you know, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. And we were going to drill, and we were going to make so much money. We were going to supply Europe with oil. I had stopped the Russian pipeline, and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were going to make a fortune. And then the COVID came in, and we really had to divert. Then what happened is when they came in, you know, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a 1929 type depression. But the problem is when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. You know, we got over that bad period where everybody was dying and, you know, it was just not a good period. Interestingly, you know, during his administration, many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it. But people don't realize more people died during his administration than ours. But it diverted us from doing what I wanted to do. But we had the greatest for, you know, almost 3 years. We had the great, and you know that probably better than anybody. So many of your friends said to me, the best years we've ever had in business were during the Trump years, and also said that African American, Hispanic American were so incredible. They were having the best. Asian American women, men, young people without a diploma, young people that graduated from the best colleges, from MIT, from the Wharton School, from all of the great colleges, Harvard. They were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better, and everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and we had the problem is they spent trillions and trillions of dollars. They wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't be having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I should probably say something about, like, you know, maybe my views on, you know, climate change and oil and gas, because I mean, I think it's probably different from what most people would assume. Because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard, which is that I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy. And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving, and the economy would collapse. So it's, you know, I don't think it's right to sort of vilify the oil and gas industry. And I you know, the world has a certain demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than some other countries. And it would help with prosperity in the U.S. And at the same time, obviously, my view is like, we do over time want to move to a sustainable energy economy, because eventually you do run out of. I mean, you run out of oil and gas. It's not there. It's not infinite. And there is some risk. I think the risk is not as high as you know, a lot of people say it is with respect to global warming. But I think if you just keep increasing the parts per million in the atmosphere long enough, eventually it actually simply gets uncomfortable to breathe. People don't realize this. If you go past 1,000 parts per million of CO2, you start getting headaches and nausea. And so we're now in the sort of 400 range. We're adding, I think, about roughly 2 parts per million per year. So I mean, it still gives us. So what it means is, like, we still have quite a bit of time, but so there's not, like, we don't need to rush, and we don't need to, like, you know, stop farmers from farming, or, you know, prevent people from having steaks, or basic stuff like that. Like you can leave the farmers alone.
I agree. How crazy is that? Where I mean, you have farmers that are not allowed to farm anymore and have to get rid of their cattle, and the whole world is a little crazy. But it's largely taken its lead from us. I do say, though, I've heard in terms of the fossil fuel, because even to create your electric car and create the electricity needed for the electric car, fossil fuel is what really creates that at the generating plants. And, so you sort of can't get away from it at this moment. I mean, someday you might be able to, but I do hear we have anywhere from 100 to 500 years left. Much of it hasn't even been found yet.
Yeah.
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got Anwar in Alaska approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. Everybody tried. Nobody could do it. I got it approved. The first thing that Biden did was unimprove it, to get rid of it. He ended it. His secretary went in and she ended it. And what a disgrace. That's Anwar. That's bigger, or they think it could be bigger than Saudi Arabia in Alaska. Could be bigger than Saudi Arabia. But they went in and they terminated it. And I'll get it going very quickly, because not only is it big for Alaska, I mean, you talk about economic development, that for the United States, I mean, that is, they say bigger than Saudi Arabia or the same size, and pure, really good stuff. And, they end it. So I think we have, perhaps hundreds of years left. Nobody really knows. But during that time, something will come around that will be very good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and my estimate would be, a little more aggressive than that. But it's not the sort of like we're all going to die in 5 years stuff. That's obviously BS. But I mean, my view is, like, if you just look at sort of the parts per million that increments every year, you get sort of 2 or 3 parts per million every year of CO2. I mean, I think some of that it's problematic if it accelerates, if you start going from 2 or 3 to say 5, and then there may be some situations where you get just a step change increase in the CO2. And I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm, because like that's actually makes it uncomfortable to breathe. Like just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like that's considered like an industrial hazard.
Right.
Just so it's that's actually, you start getting headaches and stuff. So it's even without global warming, it's not comfortable to live. So you don't want to get too close to that. But I mean, I think we've got. I think we want to just move over, and like, and if I don't know, 50 to 100 years from now, we're I don't know, mostly sustainable. I think that'll probably be okay. So it's not like the house is on fire immediately, but I think it is something we need to move towards. And on balance, it's probably better to move there faster than slower. But like I said, without vilifying the oil and gas industry, and without causing hardship in the short term, I think this can be done. Without people can still have a stake, and they can still drive gasoline cars, and it's okay. It's like, it's not. I don't think we should vilify people for it, but I think we should just generally lean in the direction of sustainability. And I actually think solar is going to be a majority of Earth's energy generation in the future, and it's certainly trending that way. And so you get the solar power, combine that with batteries, so because obviously the sun doesn't shine at night, and then you use that to charge the electric cars, and you have a long-term sustainable solution. And that's what Tesla's trying to move things towards, and I think we've made a lot of progress in that regard. But when you look at our cars, we don't believe that environmentalism, that caring about the environment should mean that you have to suffer. So we make sure that our cars are beautiful, that they drive well, that they're fast, they're sexy. I mean, they're cool. In fact, literally, I mean, the sexy joke, Model S, Model 3, Model X, and Y spells out sexy. It was probably the most expensive joke out there. But I don't know, I like cheesy humor, so but I'm a big fan of, like, let's have an inspiring future, and let's work towards a better future, and we can do so without demonizing people.
I'm okay. It's very interesting. You use the word global warming, and today they use the word climate change, because you have some places that go up and stuff. So they were getting themselves in a little trouble with the word global warming, because not every place is warming. Some places are going the opposite direction. But I'm sort of waiting for you to come up with solar panels on the roofs of your cars and on the trunks of the cars. And it just seems like something that at some point you will come up with. I'm sure you'll be the first. But it would seem that a solar panel on the roofs, on flat surfaces, on certain surfaces might be good.
Yeah.
At least in certain areas of the country where you have the world
Sure.
where you have the sun. But I would think, and I have no idea because that's not my world, but I would think that this would be something that would be interesting. But the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global warming or they talk about climate change, but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me,
Sure.
that's an immediate problem because you have, as I said, 5 countries where you have major nuclear and probably some others are getting there, and that's very dangerous. That's where you need a strong American president because you don't want to have this proliferation. But you have 5 countries and getting more. China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower. Russia and us are number 1, and I mean, we're sort of tied. And China is far behind, but they're developing at a level that you're not surprised to hear very fast. They'll end up catching up, maybe even surpassing. But to me, the biggest problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's a problem, but it's degrees. To me, the big problem is the nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great. And when I talk about I'll prevent World War III, I will. But the truth is that you have to, because this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is a level of destruction and power that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, and actually, there's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is underrated.
You're right.
And it's actually, people have this fear of nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. And if you look at the injuries and deaths, caused by, say, I mean, I'm not going to try to pick on coal mining, but just any kind of mining operation. And there's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done. So that
maybe they'll have to change the name. The name is it's a rough name. There are some areas like when you see what happened in
bad branding.
Right, we'll have to rebrand it. We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after you or something. No, it has a branding problem. When you see what happened,
it does have a branding problem.
When you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they there's a lot of bad things happened, and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad.
No, that's not true.
But you're right about it. It's amazing.
It's actually not that bad. So like after Fukushima happened in Japan, like people were asking me in California, are we worried about like a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's not even dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. And I donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant. And
but you haven't been feeling so well lately, and I'm worried about it.
No, but I mean,
I'm only kidding.
It's fine, It's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So it's really not something that
That's great.
So it's not as scary as people think, basically. But let's see. I mean, there's some other topics we should touch on. Like lawfare. I think we need to be concerned about
what they've done to this country.
Obviously,
yeah. Well, we just won the big case in Florida. This was a Biden administration did something that's never been done in this country, and that's go after their political opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won, but they always pick a judge and a jury, and they use local DAs, they use the local attorney generals, like Fani, Fani, spelled Fani, Fani, and it's all a big hoax, and it's all run from there, like in Manhattan. The one of the top people from the Justice Department went in, ran Manhattan, ran the state. The Letitia James deal was run by a person from the Department of Justice, Biden. They've never done this before,
Sure.
and they set up a very bad precedent. It's called lawfare, warfare. It's a terrible thing, and never happened in our country. It does happen in banana republics and third world countries, but it's never happened. And the incredible thing is it actually drove my numbers up because people see, fortunately I have a platform like you, or, in all fairness, like a conversation like this, where I can talk about it and people understand. I mean, you fight for election integrity and you end up getting indicted because you're fighting for election integrity. And when the day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country anymore. So what happens is they went after their political opponent, me. Now Biden's, close to vegetable stage, in my opinion. Okay, I looked at him today on the beach, and I said, why would anybody allow him? The guy could barely walk. Why would anybody allow him? Does he have a political advisor that thinks this looks good? He thinks this looks good because it looks so bad, and it's ridiculous. I mean, and he's been doing that for a long time. He can't lift the chair. The chair weighs about 3 ounces. It's meant for children and old people to lift, and he can't lift it. The whole thing is crazy.
Well, he's clearly not, I mean, he's clearly like, we just don't have a president right
You
now.
don't have a
That's just obviously
president,
the
and
case.
she's going to be worse than him because she is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San Francisco, and then as Attorney General, she destroyed California. You talk about location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. What she has done to California is, well, you know better than I do. You just left California for a lot of those reasons. And what she's done with crime, with cashless bail, where you kill somebody. I mean, we have states now you kill somebody and they let you out right away. I mean, you don't have to even put up, and then they never find the people unless they kill again, and then they let them out again. Our country is becoming a very dangerous place. And she is a radical left San Francisco liberal. And now she's trying to protect. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible, but she wants to be more Trump than Trump.
Yeah.
I want a wall.
I think that's,
she wants to release all the prisoners that are in detention. And some of these guys are really bad.
Right.
That just came out today. She doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls and wheels. In your business, everything you do is obsolete, almost, well, not the tunnels, but everything is obsolete. Even your rocket ships, they're like a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And the wall, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and that's why we had such good numbers. I was going to add 200 miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks, and they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant, I said, wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders. She wants to have open borders, and now she's going like she's tough on the border. It's such a lie.
Yeah, this is simply not true. This is simply not true.
And everybody knows it's not true. It's a disgrace that she can say it.
No, I mean, obviously, what's happening sort of overnight is they're rewriting history and making Kamala sound like a moderate when in fact she is far left, like far left.
Worse than Bernie Sanders. She is considered more liberal by far than Bernie Sanders. She's a radical left lunatic, and if she's going to be our president, very quickly, you're not going to have a country anymore. And she'll go back to all of the things that she believes in. She believes in defunding the police. She believes in no fracking, zero. Now all of a sudden she's saying, no, I really want to see fracking. If they got in, the day she got in, she'll end fracking. And by the way, if people didn't think that, the lunatics that really believe in that, they won't vote for her. Like the Palestinians and Israel. She is so anti-Israel, and she's bad for both. Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him, both sides. That was a hard thing to do, unification.
Yeah, no. I mean, Netanyahu came to give a talk to, a joint Senate and House sitting, and I was there, and Kamala stood him up. What does that say?
I think it's highly
That's
disrespectful. And I say, if you're a Jewish person, or if you believe in Israel, if you're a person that, is a very pro-Israel, if you vote for her, it's worse than Biden. And Biden was bad. But if you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined. And you see tonight, I mean, as we're doing this, I'm seeing reports coming that they expect an attack tonight or tomorrow from hundreds and maybe thousands of rockets. Their Iron Dome, as they call it, as we all call it, but their shield that they build, that can be swamped. We'll use the term that's appropriate, swamped. But they swamp it by shooting enough missiles. You know this better than anybody. By shooting enough missiles, they can't defend themselves. They just obliterate the whole place. And that's what some people think they're looking to do. And we have no leadership. There's no respect for the United States of America with these people. And I'm telling you, she'll be worse than him, because she's a believer in being radical left, and he wasn't.
I think you're right. I mean, you really, it's important for the public that may be listening to this to look at Kamala's track record, before the last month, and say, is that a track record you agree with? And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree with it, because it is her behavior has been far left, and we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history and make it sound like Kamala's moderate when she in fact is not moderate.
Well, her running mate signed into legislation, tampons in boys' bathrooms. Okay, now that's all I have to hear. Tampons in boys' bathrooms, and that means she believes in that too. I mean, she picked this guy because he was the closest to her. A lot of people thought she'd pick sort of the opposite, but she picked an anti-Israel radical left person. But she is far worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have her as a president, if we have a Democrat at this moment as the president, I don't think our country can survive.
I think it's a massive. I think we're in massive trouble, frankly, with the Kamala administration, and that's my honest opinion. And I think really it's essential that you win for the good of the country this election, and I mean that's understating my opinion. Now, you may have seen this, but I got a letter from the EU Commission, saying, to not have disinformation on during this discussion that we're having, and there's a lot of attempts to do censorship and to force censorship even on Americans from other countries, and what do you think about that?
Well, I know the European Union very well. They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know. We, through a different forum, NATO, we protect them. And yet, if you build a car in the United States, you can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible. The same thing with our farmers. Our farmers find it very difficult to do business. We have a deficit with them of $250 billion, which people don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're not as tough as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. And that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them, with Ukraine. So we're in for 250 billion, and they're in for about 71 billion, and they have the same size. If you add up the European nations that, in terms of an economy, it's about the same size, wouldn't you say, as us? And they're in, and they're in much greater risk. They're right there. We have an ocean separating us from, in this case, the enemy would be Russia. It used to be for the Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough. And what happens is they're in for 70-something million. I think even less than that, billion, and we're in for about 250 billion, and it could be a lot higher than that. And I say, why aren't you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more, it's much more important for them because of the fact that, they're right near there. I mean, they're all sort of in that location. We're not. But they should, and I did it with NATO. there were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 28 at the time. And the United States
Yeah,
was
yeah,
the United States was subsidizing NATO, tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I said, I went
yeah,
in and I said, you
yeah,
got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer. I took a lot of heat, but you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in. And,
yeah. I think a lot of the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of the NATO expenses.
and then we get
Even though,
taken
like,
advantage of on trade. So think
yeah,
about it.
well, I mean, the point of NATO is defending Europe, and it's it's like, then okay, well, why is the United States paying disproportionately more to defend Europe than Europe? That doesn't make sense. That's unfair, and that is an appropriate thing to address.
Well,
Um,
when you talk about
so
cost cutting and savings and everything else, I mean, honestly, look, there's nobody that feels worse about the Ukraine situation than I do, because I know it would have never happened. I know Zelensky. He was very honorable to me, because when they went with the Russia hoax and they said I had a phone call with him, he said it was a perfect phone call. It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and, said, oh, he was very threatening. He said, no, it was a very nice phone call. I called him up to congratulate him on his win, and you end up getting impeached because these people are
yeah, yeah,
lunatics. I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. In many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country than the Russias and the Chinas. If you have a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
yeah,
Now, they've taken advantage
yeah,
of us
absolutely.
incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech, because during your first term as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly, with with false attacks, and you didn't try to shut down the media. You didn't try to uh, inhibit their freedom of speech, and I think that says a lot.
Well, the good thing is that you and I have, and some people, very few, we can get the word out. Although sometimes it's hard because they don't want to print it, like we're having a great conversation right now. Kamala wouldn't have this conversation. She can't, because she's not
No.
smart. She's not a smart person, by the way. She can't have this conversation. And Biden, we don't even have to talk about it. I mean, he couldn't have this conversation. He would have given up on the first half of a question. He would have walked out. He would have said, where am I? Where am I going? So anyway, but
Yeah,
no, he wouldn't have this.
that's true.
Not a lot of people would have this conversation, but we cover a lot of territory. But the beauty is that we can have a conversation, and
Yes, you
I'm
can actually
able
have a
to get it out without, because I get treated
this is a
unfairly
this
by
is a
the
really
press.
big point. You can actually have a conversation with you.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
And you can't have a conversation with Biden or Kamala. It's like it's not possible.
That's true.
So this is like talking to an NPC.
No.
So it's just impossible.
Well, but think of it. We need a man or person who's unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the nuclear danger and all the dangers that I'm talking about. And I got along with all these. I got along with Kim Jong-un. We had dinner, we had everything, and he really liked me, and I got along with him really well. By the way, he's the absolute boss over there. A lot of people said, "Oh, do you think he really?"
That's for
Let
sure.
me tell you, I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss. But we had a good relationship, and he doesn't like Biden. He considers him a stupid man. He said he's a stupid man. Well, at least he speaks his mind. But in this country, you're not sort of allowed to say it, but I guess you are. You should be allowed to say it if it's true. But we need smart people, and we need people that have an ability to lead. And she doesn't have that ability. Can you imagine? Now, Chairman Xi very well. Can you imagine her and him negotiating, or
No, it's
even
silly. It would be
standing
silly.
together? It is, the whole concept is ridiculous. She is terrible. She's terrible. But she's getting a free ride. I saw a picture of her on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing, and actually, she looked very much like our great First Lady, Melania. She didn't look. She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman, so we'll leave it at that, right?
Yeah, well, maybe like, I think part of what people in America want to, people in America want to feel excited and inspired about the future. They want to feel like the future is going to be better than the past, and that America is going to do things that are greater than we've done in the past, reach new heights that make you proud to be an American. and excited about the future.
They want the
And I
American
think
dream
just
back. They want the American dream back. More important than anything else. It's like you don't have that today because the people, they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running our. You know, the Biden thing is very interesting. People just found him to be incompetent, and when I debated him, I was like, "Is this for real?" It was.
Yeah, it was just absurd. But I think there are like some grand projects that we could do. I mean, I think like we could build a base on the moon. We could send American astronauts to Mars. We
Right.
could build high speed
Yep.
connections that are more advanced than anything else in the world between our cities, so people have fast transport. It's possible to solve traffic with tunnels.
That's right.
We already made great progress in Vegas doing that, and and just do things that are exciting and inspiring and make the future feel like it's better than the past.
Well, I saw
And
what you did in Vegas, and I'll tell you, it was amazing. I got to see. I took a big glimpse at it, and it's incredible. It's incredible, and you could do that all over. You could do that all over. It's deep.
yeah,
You don't even need much structure. Assuming you're in the right areas.
no, it's straightforward.
It's amazing.
So I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high speed rail between its cities, but I think it's actually possible with tunnels if with deregulation, with an ability to actually where it's like legal to actually do the tunnels. Then you could have high speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world for high speed transport between cities, and that would be something that Americans can say, "Wow, okay, we've got something that's cooler than anyone else in the
Yeah.
world." That's the kind of thing that makes you proud to be an
And
American.
much safer than surface trains, where there is a danger there. With crazy people, it's much safer, much better. And it's sad because I've seen some of the greatest trains. I find it fascinating, and I've seen the systems and how they work, and the bullet trains they call them, I guess. And they go unbelievably fast, unbelievably comfortable, with no problems. And we don't have anything like that in this country, not even close. And it doesn't make sense that we don't. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think also like there's I'm kind of hopping on the excess regulation, but I think something that like I think people can generally understand is that what happens with laws and regulations is that there's more and more of them every year, and unless there's a process to clean them up, eventually everything becomes
You're right.
illegal, and that actually it slows down the development of new technologies. I mean, if you take the sort of like I think there's room for some reform at the FDA for
Yeah.
improving the speed with which we approve drugs that could help save lives and improve people's lives. And
I worked very hard on that. We got that down to the lowest number ever, and we got therapeutics approved in the FDA that people can't even believe the speed. But I took them on. I don't think they like me too much, but I got things approved in the FDA at numbers that they wouldn't believe. And it's a very bureaucratic group. Actually, it's a fine group of people in many cases. I got to know a lot of them, but I was pushing them really hard for Regeneron, for so many different things that were really pretty amazing. But the FDA takes too long. It's 12 years to get a product approved. I got it down to 4, and I got some things done very quickly. But it's really something that is going to have to be worked on because it takes too long. Just takes too long.
Yeah, it just takes too long, and it's you end up in the same with the approval, but it just it takes years instead of something that I think could potentially take months, and that improves people's lives. I think I just wanted to hop on this point that like there has to be an active process for reducing rules and regulations, because otherwise they just keep building up every year, and you get like hardening of the arteries, and eventually everything's illegal or takes forever, and then we just we just ossify as a society. We can't make any progress, and that's it's a really big deal.
Elon, just getting back to the FDA for 1 second, I got something done called Right to Try. This is where you can go in, and if you're terminally ill, you can use a space age, medicine or whatever it may be. We have the best doctors, the best labs in the world. We really do. And but people would go to other countries because you couldn't use the product, even if they thought it worked, because it's going through the FDA. I got it approved where you can, you basically, you look, nobody wanted, the doctors didn't want it because of the liability. The country didn't want it, our country, because they didn't want to get sued. These are people terminally ill. The insurance companies didn't want it, and the pharmaceutical companies, nobody wanted it. I got everybody into a room, and we came up with an agreement that you won't get sued. And also, they didn't want it on their record. If somebody's terminally ill and they die after taking a drug, they didn't want that on their record. So we set a separate list if somebody was, so it wouldn't count as a negative. Okay. And as you know, we got it done. We have saved right to try. They've been trying to get this done for 58 years. And it sounds simple, but it wasn't, because, I mean, the insurance companies, nobody wanted it, but we got it done. Somebody signs, you sign a document that you're not going to sue the insurance companies, the country, you're not going to sue anybody. And we got it done. And we're saving tens of thousands of lives right to try. Hopefully you never need it. But if you do, you don't have to travel to Asia. People, if they had money, they go to Asia, they go to Europe. If they don't have money, they go home and die. That's what happened. They'd go home and die.
Well, I mean, and actually, to give Europe some props here, it's like if a drug is approved in Europe, which has a crazy amount of regulations, it should obviously be approved in the U.S. I mean, they get more regulations than we do. So why would a drug be approved in Europe and not in the U.S.? That's crazy.
Well, we did it. We did something that really, they've been trying to do it for 50 years, and they just couldn't get it done, and I got it done. And it's really something. But you're right. Some people go to Europe because a drug isn't approved here, but it's approved in Europe, and it's a drug that, generally speaking, would work. It's pretty crazy.
Absolutely,
you're right.
And I think so long as people are properly informed of the pros and cons, and like these are the risks, this is the risk, and like you make your own decision. That makes sense.
Well, I think just in sort of closing up, and by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get nervous, because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. How many? What is the number? Wow. What is it?
Well,
wow.
I think in terms of people,
that's bigger than you said. You said 25, and you're much more than double that number, 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70. And I guess over a period of time, hey, I congratulate you. Do I get paid for this or not?
Well, I think actually in terms of the number of people that will hear this conversation over the next few days to weeks, it's going to be hundreds.
That's what they say. Yeah, that's good. Well, look, it's an honor. I just asked this: are you better off now, or were you better off when I was president? Nobody's better off now. People, we put out polls on that, and nobody's better off now. Inflation has killed it, and they also feel very unsafe. You look at what's going on with a lot of different things. You look at the riots we had at the colleges over. I mean, it's ridiculous, but all of the riots, they just feel unsafe. And now they really feel unsafe because you have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. Maybe I'll call it Kamala migrant crime. But
I mean, with all these things, I always try to get to the ground truth by just asking people. And my mom lives in New York, and I was like, Mom, have any of your friends been attacked or assaulted? And she said, yeah, 3 of her friends in 3 separate incidents were assaulted just in recent months, just walking around the streets of New York. And I said, well, what happened to the people that assaulted them? Oh, nothing. They got away. Like, and they just know
they always get away.
Nothing's going. And they don't even bother reporting it, because they know that they're not going to, people are not going to get prosecuted. They just let violent criminals out in New York.
The only one that gets prosecuted is Donald Trump. They prosecute Trump.
Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously messed up.
Oh, it's terrible.
If violent criminals are getting off scot-free, and meanwhile the New York spending massive resources prosecuting you, and it's like, what's this? And I think the sort of sensible public looks at this and says, what the heck's going on here? This is obviously abuse of the legal system. The legal system is supposed to be protecting the public from violent criminals, And it should be obviously allowing the public to make their own decision about who should be president, as opposed to, some, legal case.
Once they start this precedent, because this can go on with the next one. I mean, this is a very bad precedent, what they're doing in terms of, going after their political opponent. And that's all it is. It's going after their political opponent. And
Yeah.
and then you get a judge who's, a strong Democrat. And I'm being nice when I say that, in many cases, crooked as hell. But you get a judge and you go into an area where a Republican gets 3 or 4% of the vote. And, you'll have a jury pool
Yeah.
with people that hate Republicans or hate. It could
Sure.
also be the other way, though,
Of course.
because it could start the other way in areas where they hate
Exactly.
Democrats. And you get into a
Yep.
Pandora's box. It's a very dangerous thing for this country, and a very dangerous thing even for the state. New York City is
Yep,
losing. New York
absolutely.
City and state lose a lot of business over what they did to me, because these people say, we don't want that to happen to us. That's no justice system. You have an unfair system of
Yes.
justice, and it's costing New York State a tremendous amount of money. People are leaving and companies are leaving, and they won't come back. So, all of that stuff is important. But the economy now is the big thing, and we can turn that economy up so fast, and people are going to be back again. We're going to get rid of
Yeah, I think
inflation.
there's a lot of opportunity.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So,
And I just
I
want
thi- I
I want to
think,
congratulate you. You've done an amazing job. You have definitely got a fertile mind. We can talk. You and I can talk about rockets.
it's kind of you to say. Thank
Well,
you.
tunnels. We can talk about tunnels and rockets and electric cars. So many things. And now you're into the AI, and that's going to be another beauty, I'll say. So
Yeah.
it's an amazing thing you've done, Elon. It's an amazing thing, and I
Well,
congratulate you.
I mean, thank you. And well, I mean, I just say here, here's to an exciting, inspiring future that people can look forward to and be optimistic and excited about what happens next. And that's the kind of future that I think you will bring as president, and that's why I endorse you.
Well, I appreciate that. That endorsement meant a lot to me. Not all endorsements mean that much, to be honest. Your endorsement meant a lot. And, we have a phrase, make America great again. It's pretty simple, but it really says that we want to make America great again. And we can do it. We can do it now. But if we were going to suffer another 4 years like we suffered for the last 4 years, I'm not sure the country can ever come back. That's how bad it is. It's so bad. We have to do a lot of
I think
things.
that's a very real risk.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
That's a very real risk.
Yeah.
And it's, I'd just like to note to people listening, like I've not been very political before. And if you look at my record, I've actually been, I'm not like, some they try to paint me as like a far right guy, which is absurd, because I'm like making electric vehicles and, solar and batteries, helping with the environment. And I actually, I supported Obama. I stood in line for 6 hours to shake Obama's hand when he was running for president. And, so it's not like I'm like some sort of dyed in the wool long-term Republican. I call myself, historically a moderate Democrat. But now I feel like we're really at a critical juncture for the country. I think a lot of people thought, the Biden administration would be a moderate administration, but it's not. And obviously, we're just going to see an even further left administration with Kamala. That's my honest opinion. I mean, her dad is literally. I mean, she was brought up as an actual. Her dad is a Marxist economist. You can Google it. I mean, it's not we're not making this up. That's how she was brought up. So, and we want to have a future that is prosperous. And I think we're just at this critical juncture. And I think this is a case of the America is kind of at a fork in the road, and
True.
And I think it will take if the path to, like, you are the path to prosperity, and I think Kamala is the opposite. Then that's my honest opinion. I'm gonna get attacked like crazy, and I've also experienced quite a bit of lawfare myself, but I'm just trying to tell people my honest opinion, and I haven't been really active in politics before. And I'm just trying to point out that my track record historically has been moderate, if not moderate, slightly left. And so this is to people out there who are in the moderate camp to say, I think you should support Donald Trump for president. And I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if it goes the other way.
Well, I want to thank you. And You know, I actually always did think of you as somewhat left. I must say that. So it's it's
Yeah.
even more of an
Well,
honor to have your endorsement. I know how strong you feel about it. But you know, when you think of her, San Francisco, 15 years ago, I had a great friend, Bob Tish. He said it's the greatest city in America, and now it's not. It's almost not livable there. And California likewise. And she was involved in the destruction of San Francisco and the destruction of California. And she will be involved in the destruction of our country if people are so unwise as to elect her. And I hope that doesn't happen. And I hope the elections are going to be run honestly. And we're going to turn this country around. We're going to do things that, and we can do it fairly quickly. And we have to get rid of the criminals that have been, you know, given to us by other countries as they laugh. They laugh at us. They think we're stupid to accept these people. These are radical, stone cold killers in many cases and terrorists. And they're in our country by the hundreds of thousands.
yeah.
And we have to take them out.
Yeah. I mean, if I could summarize it, perhaps, you know, I think these are issues that I think most people in America would agree with, which is that we want safe and clean cities, we want secure borders, we want sensible government spending, we want to restore both the perception and reality of respect in the judicial system. Just, you know, stop the lawfare, and I think that's like, and how are those even right-wing positions? I think those are just that's just common sense, and that's I mean, would you agree with that?
100%. I don't understand, you know, the whole, they call it progressive. They don't like the word liberal anymore, but call it liberal or progressive. I don't understand how somebody could say that it's okay for them to empty prisons into our country. And again, I told you their crime rates all over the world are going way down, which makes sense. In fact, the next time what we'll do is, if something happens with this election, which would be a horror show, we'll meet the next time in Venezuela, because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country. Okay, so we'll go, you and I will go, and we'll have a meeting and dinner in Venezuela, because that's what's happening. Their crime rates coming down and our crime rates going through the roof. And it's so simple. And you haven't seen anything yet, because these people have come into our country and they're just getting acclimated. And they don't know about being politically correct law enforcement or lack of law enforcement. And our police, I have to just end with this. We have great police. We have great law enforcement, but they're not allowed to do their job. They have to be able to do their job without being destroyed.
Well, absolutely, and it's obviously demoralizing if you're a police officer risking your life to to arrest violent criminals who could kill you and do kill you sometimes, and then you arrest the violent criminal, and then the DA doesn't prosecute, and they just let the guy out.
Right.
Well, then, like, why should a police officer risk their life to arrest a violent felon?
Well, even worse,
if
Elon,
nothing's going to happen.
even worse, they prosecute the police officer. They go after it and they prosecute the police officer, and they take away his pension. They take away his job. He loses his family. He loses his house.
Well, I thought it was very telling, like incredibly telling, that when there was that case where sort of a gang of thugs beat up police officers. I think it was in Times Square in New York, and then nothing happened to those guys. They were let out, zero bail, and I think a bunch of them were given free tickets to California. Well, what is I mean, that is a gross indignity against the United States, and that's how, I mean, this is insane. Like, have we lost all pride? How can such a thing be allowed to occur?
I've never seen anything. You know, we see where they get shot. It's a very dangerous profession, but it's something they're very proud of, and they want to be able to do their job. But I've seen them get shot. I've seen a lot of things, but I've never seen where these guys are standing in the middle of a big street, everybody watching them, and they're literally boxing, like punching, stand up fighting a police officer. There were two of them, and you had about six of these guys, and they're punching the hell out of them. And in their own country, they would be dead if they did that. They'd be shot. They would be shot instantly. And, you know, they come from these countries, and it's taking them a while to realize that we don't do that in this country. But in their own country, if they stood on a street and had a fight with a police officer, they would be shot. There's no political correctness. And it's such a sad, it's such a sad thing to see. And that's the reason you have crime, by the way, because we don't do anything about it.
Yeah, we just cannot have a situation where our police officers are beaten up on camera by a gang of illegal immigrants, and then nothing happens to the guys that beat up the cops. I mean, and they're let out. This is
Well, we're going to
unacceptable.
change it, and we're going to get them out of the country. You know, when I first got involved, they said you couldn't get them back to these countries. You couldn't take them back. In the case of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, some others, you couldn't get them back. And I said, really? Oh, you can't get them back? Because under Obama, he couldn't get them back. They'd fly them in, and they'd put planes on the runways in these countries, so you couldn't land a plane. They'd bring them back. And the generals told me, sir, we can't bring them back. The countries won't accept MS-13 gang members. They won't accept them. And I said, really, how much do we pay these various countries in terms of economic aid, which is also somewhat ridiculous? And the answer was $750 million. I said, good. Tell them they're in default. They're delinquent. We're not paying them anymore because they won't accept it. And you know what happened? They all called me, every one of them. They said, we would be honored to take them back, sir. We would be honored. It was so easy. But it's one of those things. And we got them back. We took in so many, the MS-13 is probably the worst gangs in the world. They're the most vicious, violent. We took them out of here by the thousands and got them out of here. And their countries took them back. And because I said, you're not getting any more economic aid. And once I said that, they were nice. They wouldn't take them back for Obama. They wouldn't take them back for anybody. And now we have a problem because we have this guy, and they don't take him back anymore with Biden because they don't respect him.
Yeah. It's just gotta be done. We just can't have whether they're citizens or not citizens. We can't have, because they won't prosecute citizens either, not just illegals. So if you can't have violent, repeat violent offenders that are not that don't get incarcerated.
That's right.
Because they will obviously, by definition, continue to hurt people. And I think where part of this comes from is that there's and I do sort of consider myself liberal in some ways. I mean, it's just that you want to have empathy for people. Obviously, you want to have empathy for people. I totally agree with that. You want to have empathy, but you also have to have empathy for the victims of the criminals. And if you just have empathy for the criminals, it's actually shallow empathy. It's not real. You're not thinking. You have one layer deep empathy. You got to say, like, what if you don't incarcerate this person? Who are they going to hurt? Who are they might kill someone. They might rape someone. If you don't incarcerate them, you have to have empathy for the victims. And there's a lack of empathy for the victims of the criminals, and too much empathy for the criminals. It doesn't make sense. That's why you want to have deep empathy for society as a whole, not shallow empathy for criminals.
Right. And we have to give our police officers the dignity and the respect that they deserve. And we have to let them do their job. They can do a great job, but we have to let them do their job. And if we don't do that, it's going to all disappear. There's never been a society like this where you're allowed to do anything you want and nothing happens. And I'm talking about violent crime. And it's going to get more violent because these are really, really violent people. And we're going to get them out of our country, and we're going to get them back to because they were sent here by the presidents and by the various people that run those countries. And I know every one of those guys. And they're smart people, and they're streetwise people. And they really think that the USA is stupid. They think we're run by stupid people, and they happen to be right. But when I was there, we had no problem. We got them out. We took out thousands of MS-13 gang members. We brought them back. And now, again, it's the same old story. We don't do it. And they actually gave them a big increase in aid. They raised it up to billions of dollars, and they get nothing for it. So, I hope everybody's going to vote for Trump, and we're going to get this country straight. Yeah. And I didn't need this. I'm like you. I didn't need this. I had a very nice life. I didn't need to go through court systems and go through all the other stuff and run at the same time. I have to run. I have to go through fake trials with, in some cases, corrupt judges, totally corrupt judges. I didn't need it. I had a nice life. I have great locations. I have beautiful oceans that I have places. But I felt it was important. And if I had to do it over again, you probably think I'm crazy for doing it, actually. But if I had to do it over again, I would have done it over again, because this is so much more important than me or my life. This is we're going to save this country. This country is going down. And these people are bad people that we're running against, and they're liars. They make statements. They do things that are so bad. They say they're going to make a strong border. They say they've been great on the border, and they've been the worst in history. They say they're going to stop
it's horrible.
crime.
Like, the facts speak for themselves.
It's so incredible.
Speak for themselves. Like it's got to the point where people just don't even bother reporting crime in a lot of
That's
cities
right.
because they know nothing is going to happen. That's what I hear anecdotally from people all the time. So it's just my values. I'm just saying to people out there, like the things I think are important for the future is like we've got to have safe cities, we've got to have secure borders, we've got to have sensible spending, and we've got to have deregulation, and
Right.
so we can have a prosperous future. And then we want to have some exciting, sort of moonshot projects that people can get fired up about, and that's the future I'm looking for. And I'm pro environment, but I'm not against. I'm not like I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry because they're keeping civilization going right now, and but I do think we want to move at a reasonable speed towards a sustainable energy economy. Those are my values, and I think and so I mean that's why I'm supporting you for president.
Well, I appreciate it. We're going to give incentive to companies to come into our country, not to leave our country. We're going to be giving tremendous incentives. We want companies to build here, not to build in other locations. And we want to create jobs. And again, it's about the American dream. You don't hear about the American dream anymore, Elon. You don't hear. You're the American dream in the truest sense, but you don't hear about the American dream anymore. And you're going to hear about it. People, they need that incentive to go out and do it. And they're going to love their lives. I mean, they're going to look forward to getting up in the morning and going to a job that they love, not a job that they can't stand, or not any job at all where they have no money, where they literally have no money. And then they end up with violence and lots of other problems. No, we're going to do some great things. And I learned a lot in the first. We had a great economy and all of that. We rebuilt the military. We did so much, but I also learned the best people. I learned the good people, the smart people, the dumb people, the people that can do things. The people, you learn. When I first came in, I tell people I was in Washington, D.C. only 17 times, according to the fake news media. I was in 17 times. I never stayed over. And you don't know people. You rely on other people to give you names, and then you realize the people you relied on weren't so good. Now, we had great people, but we also had some where I wouldn't have used them had I known. Now I know everybody, and I think we're going to really turn things around fast. We have no choice, otherwise we're not going to have a country. And I really appreciate this. To me, it's been a lot of fun being with you. You're an amazing guy. You've done an incredible job and a great inspiration to people. A great inspiration, and I hope you keep going and just continue to do well. And we're going to have a big election coming up, and I think November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. I think that election will be the most important election, and I think it'll end up being maybe the most important day in the history of our country, because if we don't win, I just feel so sorry for everybody.
No, I think we're at a fork in the road of destiny of civilization, and I think we need to take the right path, and I think you're the right path. So I think that's what it comes down to.
Thank you very much, Elon. It's a great honor, and we'll do it again sometime. And it's been really fun, and I hope you got a lot of viewers. I hear you got a lot, but I hope you got I know you got a lot of them. So I appreciate it. I'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Elon. Thank you very much. Bye.
Ba-na-na-na-na-na.
What up?
Yo. Trump. Trump.
What's up, Vizia?
Trump. Trump.
Trump, 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 Trump.
Was Trump as hyped in 2020 as this, or maybe it was just so long ago, but I don't know. Like this Elon endorsement, it's like got me thinking: are they just trying to like get everyone on such a high so that they can let you fall, like, and just like Kamala wins?
They're after that Aspie vote. They want that autism vote.
Yeah, this is like I feel like Elon is like it's like the kids vote, you know? It's like not the kids, but like what you see, like the autistic kids, like the geek, like computer science nerds.
Yeah, they definitely. I don't know what the play is, I guess, but I mean, these guys didn't really say nothing. It was just like any other average panel that we're all sitting here watching anyway. They were just looping hard. They were looping.
Hardcore looping. Yeah, really like sticking to like some like flow chart sort of thing. Like
they need a moderator in there to call them out. Like, hey, you guys are looping. They said goodbye for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I was,
each other.
And during the goodbyes, there was some looping too. Like, man.
Yeah, definitely.
That was wild. Mad looping. Mad looping. Wow.
Benton says Trump was a laughingstock in the so-called liberal media right before he shocked the world and beat Hillary. Yeah, they said Hillary, I saw some of them said like 99% or something.
Yeah, I still have a Twitter screenshot somewhere, literally from the night before, and it said she had like a 98 or 99% chance of winning.
Yeah, we got to get Trump on here. They're saying people just ask Trump to come on, and he comes on. We'll get Trump and we'll get Archaics on the same stream, and watch how fast Archaics starts washing his balls. You watch. He talks all that shit in the chat, but he'll be like, "Oh, Mr. Trump, much respect."
Oh my God.
Trump AI bot. Yeah, a lot of these commenters in here tonight were saying that it was AI. I don't think it's AI. I mean, these guys don't really do anything. It's probably the only thing they did for the whole day.
It's just a script. Yeah, and they're running this shit all the time. You know, it's like, I think if you ever hear Trump speak, it's like he doesn't say too much out of, he's got his own bounds, and he just says the same shit over and over. You know, and it's like when he does the rallies, it's just like a long soliloquy, just does that over and over.
Yep. And he said the same shit tonight that he says in all his rallies and all this shit. That's why I thought it's a joke. They're like, oh, the deep state doesn't want you to see this interview tonight. The deep state's going to DDoS attack Twitter and shit. And like, get the fuck out of here.
No, it's never anything.
There was nothing said at all like controversial. He didn't touch on the UK when the guy brought up, or when Elon brought up the UK sending him that threatening letter about misinformation, disinformation. He just completely danced around that one.
I was surprised about, this. I mean, they did talk about, there's all this migration around. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. They're going to talk about the UK, but it's still like weird that it's a big talking point now for him too. It's like they're bringing that out everywhere.
Yeah. I don't know. What was your impressions though overall?
Dude, just weird. Like the fact that this is all happening again. And I was just thinking about, what you said in the beginning, like, who are they trying to get here? And it was just like one of those crowd pleasing conversations. Like anyone who's a Trump tard, like they were just, jacking off the whole time, like they were just hearing what they wanted to hear. It was weird.
Yeah, absolutely. What's up, TBE?
Yo, what's up, man?
Are you a part of the Musk vote?
What, am I Musk voting?
Are you the
He's
Musk
a
vote?
muskrat.
Talking about me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
About to just hop in your Tesla. I saw a Tesla truck yesterday, man. That shit is just obnoxious.
I've seen some custom ones. They look kind of slick, but
It's
yeah,
just obnoxious. It's like a Yeezy. It's like a Yeezy. It's like a
There's
Yeezy.
a couple customs
It
by
is.
me too. I've seen one that's like all white by me, and then there's another one that's like mirrored out.
Yeah, definitely the mirrored ones. I've seen those.
Mirrored one looks crazy.
I'm seeing them more and more. At first, I never saw them. Now I'm just seeing them constantly.
What did you guys think of the whole thing? I didn't even know that was happening till
I mean, it's basically just like a long fucking campaign commercial. It's just lip service.
Yeah.
It's I'm gonna do good things. Look at all the bad things that happen. I'm gonna do good things. I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. It was just it was loopy and blah blah blah.
I think Ben was on point in the chat. It's just the talking points for people to say when they go to work because they can't think. They just need little like sound bites to say. And they repeated them over and over. Was like sensible spending. See, the liberals say common sense. They say like common sense gun laws and this and that. So they changed it on the Republican side to sensible. We want sensible laws. And then I don't remember. There was a few other little terms they kept repeating over and over. But
yeah, you can't unsee how it's just a mirror image, you know. And once you see that, it's, you know, you realize it's this equal magnitude, opposite direction, you know, propaganda. And it made, and you made me think they're just repeating stuff just to get it in your mind. Like it was really just some, you know, simple mind control tactics. Like let's just repeat some shit for how long were they doing that? Over an hour?
It's like 2 hours. It's just like any other panel out here, literally. Like I think Talcott maybe instead of going to the UN, he should just try to get on one of these panels with these guys. This is where Talcott would excel. He'd lull him to sleep with his little ASMR voice.
And now what I am saying is we need peace.
Now listen, Donald. Listen, Donald.
We need to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Peace.
I used to be in my ego, Donald. It's time we end all wars. Pretty
Let's
bad
evolve, you and I, right here, right now. Let's evolve.
Listen,
Yo, what was up? Okay, last night EBT had Talcott on the ropes, bro, with his little whack little story he was saying, and then he just let him off.
I just want to say that EBT was being very abusive to me, and he was bossing me around in front of everybody, and I was a little embarrassed about that.
Hey, speaking of
wait, I want to do it. I want to do an EBT impression. All right. Ready?
Yo, hey, hold up.
Shut up. Shut up. This is my stream. Shut up.
EBT
Shut up.
Oh, that's the whole impression. Okay.
Did somebody mute me? Did I get muted?
You got muted, fam.
Motherfucker.
You've been
We had to hear the EBT impression first. All right, what's
Go
up?
ahead.
What's up, E?
Run
What's
it.
up, E?
Thank you.
There's a they and there's a not.
Out these elites.
Is that what you're gonna do? Is that what you got for me?
No, he did the shut up.
Shut up.
He was doing an impression of last night. That's what he was doing. It's not a general impression of you.
It's fine. I'm not offended.
It was funny though.
I got really offended how many times and how it sounded to hear Jim Bob say coitus. I never want to hear that guy say that word ever again.
Yeah, EBT, you had Talcott on the ropes, bro, and then you just let him go.
I got bored with it.
And he slipped up quite a bit. That story didn't make no sense to me. Basically, if you guys missed it, Talcott told the story of his life. TBE brings up this story where Talcott's coordinating ricin attacks through the USPS. Holy shit, dude. Got the fucking ricin toxins.
Yeah, that was weird.
But his whole story was basically like he took a fucking leave for mental health, and then apparently they must have thought he was going to come back and shoot the place up, so they wouldn't let him come back or something.
What the
He's going to go postal.
He went postal.
He was pulling up some documents on his stream today about it too. There was like
No way.
some 20-page thing about why Talcott was this, that, or the other. It was from like the company or from the union.
Wow. So he's just like pulling up serious, like personal information.
It seemed like from what it was reading, he was using company things to like for personal use or whatever, and they were like, "Yeah, you can't do that." He's like basically like stealing pencils and paper clips and wads of paper. It's basically synonymous with that, you know. They're like, dude, stop doing that. You can't do that with our stuff. So
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand when he was talking about how they were mad that he had formed an LLC and shit. Like that didn't.
Well, the whole
And,
thing sounded like a conflict of interest from the beginning, and he doesn't see that.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it is a huge conflict of interest. If the union president is going to like the higher ups within the organization and asking
As
for
an
a special new
LLC.
position,
As
yeah,
an
like
LLC, yeah.
that's a big
Outside of the
that's a conflict of interest. You can't do that. You just can't
Yeah.
do that.
Hey,
Well, and especially if you're
you-
coming out here like, well, I'm going to
Sorry.
change the postal union to be mindfulness and like we're going to meditate every morning and like, like get the fuck out of here. We're going to do Tai Chi every
Talcott
morning.
would Talcott would, if he could just rebrand and then just go to Silicon Valley to be one of those tranquil gurus, I think he could be a hit.
Oh hell yeah!
You know, where they're drinking fucking tree stump tea and listening to wind chimes in the morning or something like that. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah.
Just Jack Talcott getting up at 5:30 a.m. to ring those wind chimes.
Simulacrum.
Yeah, but like he's got like a Jocko work ethic. So like he's really peaceful, but he's like super OCD aggressive about his schedule.
He's doing like some Tai Chi. Yeah, like 5 a.m.
Everybody
very-
get up and put on your shoes.
He's very militaristic but peaceful.
I'm gonna
Just
count.
stroking the beard like the Kill Bill master.
EBT, what'd you think of the Elon Trump jack-off session?
It was pretty mid, to be honest.
Sick, bro. I didn't know you were that
I
cool,
was
bro.
hoping they were going to get into it when they're because like Trump. I don't know if you guys looked at Project 47, which is Trump's thing or whatever.
No,
But like, it's kind of like directly opposed to like a lot of Elon stuff. Like, and I thought they were going to get into it maybe about like the gasoline powered vehicles and all that kind of shit because Trump wants to continue to promote that, and obviously Elon owns the largest electric car company in the world. Like, so there's a huge like dilemma there between the two. So I was hoping that there'd be some kind of back and forth.
Well, there was some
on
real subtle shade from both of them. Did you catch that? Like,
yeah, I mean, I
Trump-
caught it, but it
Trump
wasn't.
kept
It wasn't
talking
great.
shit about like Africans, real subtly.
Yeah. Well, and then Trump called them out really pretty hard when they were talking about solar panels, and he said,
Oh yeah,
well, what about you put solar panels
put them on the hood,
the
put them on the trunk.
the roofs of the cars? Well, because Elon got majorly sued big time for the solar panel roof company that he had started, and it's like something that got swept under the rug that very few people talk about, but it was a huge deal that they were just it was a complete scam. So, and he went to court for it for like the last 2 years. There's been litigation against him on that.
And then Elon, to me, sounded like he wasn't buying that damn the nuke shit. He kept trying to like get off the nukes. He was like, "No, it's totally misunderstood."
No, well, shout out to Elon though for at least saying like, hey, you know what, like Nagasaki and Hiroshima got bombed and they were like repopulated right away. Like Fukushima is not
He was
like
he was
a
low key
nuclear
saying nukes are
wasteland.
fake.
Yeah,
He saw
that's
1 minute.
basically
Twitter video.
what he was saying. Yeah, he was saying that the whole thing is fake, which
Yeah,
is
and then
actually
Trump kept
pretty,
going back
it's,
to
it's pretty good.
nuclear warming.
Nuclear warming, yeah, like we're all going to be, yeah. No, but I mean, it makes sense though. If we really wanted to solve the energy problem, nuclear power would really be the best way to go about it, whatever it is. But I mean, it's the most beneficial, cheapest, and highest yield that we could do. But it's like they want to keep that from us, I guess.
Yeah, it
Everybody
seemed like
thinks it's so bad.
They
Everything else
started
is
it
like
out in that
way
atomic
worse.
age, and then they just kind of abandoned it. Like there must have been, I don't know. I guess
Yeah,
the
it's hard
danger
to
would
figure
be
it out.
like the danger would be an enemy coming and like attacking the nuclear plant, I guess, right? Because otherwise it's pretty safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's like and Elon was right. It's literally like the safest like form of power generation that there is. I mean, way more people die from mining coal than from nuclear power plants. Like I don't know. I mean, the reactor basically runs itself. I mean, at some point. I mean, you are left with all like the spent rods and stuff. But you know what we do as Americans, we turn those spent rods into bullets, and then we go to Middle Eastern countries and dispense those. So I mean, it's like a win-win situation in reality. So
We make some of that uranium glass, motherfucker.
yeah, that depleted uranium. You know, that's what
You
we
need
do.
that uranium glass.
We can
in your
sell it.
house.
We could sell it to Ukraine, you know, or Russia, whoever, you know, China. I guess North Korea. I guess Trump's buddy with Rocket Man over there. That was part of the conversation.
Yes. Speaking of Rocket Man, he was talking about the Iron Dome too. Have you ever like looked into that Iron Dome? That shit's got to be bullshit, right?
Yeah, what's this Iron Dome?
Okay, it's basically like
it's just anti-missile technology.
Yeah, it's anti-mortar, anti-missile.
Watch what protein shakes do to your body.
This is a protein drink. You've got almond butter.
Oh, is that 2 girls, 1 cup?
So
right
I
there?
did a video previously. It was on whether the Hamas missiles are actually contain warheads, because it doesn't look like they do. It looks like they're glorified fireworks, essentially big smoke bombs, if anything. And they don't have explosive warheads in them. And then taking it one step further, the more I looked into the phony Hamas rockets that are, Hamas is a group controlled by Israel, was created by Israel, the more I've found out that the whole Iron Dome defense system, in fact, is basically just rockets that shoot up in the air and then explode. They don't actually hit any, they don't intercept anything.
I think there's Vizia talking here in this video.
Yeah, well,
And
no, they explode and they have shrapnel. That's how. I mean, it explodes and then it makes a burst of shrapnel, and that's how you attack the rocket.
Dog, that shit's just some black hat fireworks, dog. That shit is not real.
I mean, it's not. The technology exists. It's real. Like it's a real thing.
Real.
Whether the shit that we see a lot of times from Israel, though, yeah, it does look like it's just some phony shit. But like, I mean, like, look at like Navy ships with like a Sea Whiz, like Gatling gun, you know, that can just knock out rockets and missiles and all kinds of. And they put the same thing like on bases, like just random bases in like Iraq or Afghanistan, you know. And it can detect incoming rounds and mortars and all kinds of stuff, and it can just blow the shit out of the air. I mean, it's something that exists. I mean, it's not an impossibility. Individual tanks have the same technology to where they can detect incoming rounds and knock them out of the air before it attacks the tank. So, I mean, it's not something that's unbelievable, you know.
Fuck that. That shit's fireworks, dog.
I guess. Yeah.
Sounds kind of crazy at first, but the more you look into it, actually,
shoot video proves it.
There's a lot of proof out there that Iron Dome itself is, in fact, a hoax. So why would they do that? Why would they fake intercepting Hamas rockets? Well, the Hamas rockets.
Come on, would Israel ever hoax something, dude? Would the Jews ever hoax anything?
Themselves don't exist to such a great extent, we were told. And B, it instills a sense of security, sense of pride, and also the most important, C, is the Israeli people feel they're under constant attack, but their government is able to help save them. But it's important to feel like you're under constant attack. Otherwise, you're not going to just go and genocide a whole bunch of Palestinians. So what proof is there that the Hamas rockets are fake? Well, the lack of proof is actually proof, because if they claim that there's so many hundreds of missiles being fired, there should be some images of buildings that got blown up. There should be images of missiles that are exploding and causing actual damage. The videos we see, if you do a search, it looks like a smoke bomb. And this gas station video is a good example. This is one of the few proof of Hamas missiles we actually see.
Bam. Debunked, TBT.
Yes, I don't know exactly what that shows.
It's over.
I guess, but the idea that the America would have an Iron Dome, I mean, like for one, I would say that, well, if we've already paid for another country to have it, I mean, why the fuck don't we have it?
Yeah, it's
For one. But, I mean, but the biggest takeaway from the whole thing that I found was like Trump simping for Israel, and like his one of his biggest points was like, Kamala, she hates Israel. Like, if you love Israel, don't vote for Kamala.
VP.
huge anti-Semitic, huge.
Yeah, because she was supposed to pick the Jew VP, the Shapiro dude.
Yeah, and then I guess this Walls guy, which is hilarious that she picks the vice president and his name is Walls, and then it's like Trump build the wall, and then
Right.
it's like
I thought that.
I mean,
too,
like
yeah.
it's just so ridiculous at this point. And then now Kamala's talking about building the wall, like, and he mentioned that in this talk.
Yeah, she's talking about don't tax tips. That was his shit.
Yeah, exactly.
No tax.
Just saying what he said.
Just the tips.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I honestly think the play is that Kamala gets elected. I don't think that Trump's going to get elected.
You think so?
Yeah, I just don't. I just feel like that's the play. That's what they want to do. They want to put
All right,
her in
gang, I'm
office.
out of here.
Appreciate you, TBE. Good to see
Adios.
you. He heard you simping for Kamala and the Iron Dome, and
Flushed.
he said,
Flushed.
"Shit, I'm out." Yeah,
Flush. Well, I
dude.
don't know what to think anymore. Kamala's anti-Israel. Who am I supposed to support now? I don't even know. I'm confused. It's like Trump doesn't even understand like his main base of supporters, because he even went into talking about how he got the pharmaceutical companies so where they would have immunity if they produced a drug and wouldn't be
Right.
able to. Did you hear that part? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? That's not something to brag about. Your base community is totally against that. I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe boomers are okay with that idea, but I don't think for the most part, most MAGA people are totally against that. I don't know. It's kind of strange. Yeah, warp speed daddy. Yeah, he's coming back for that $1,200, folks.
I mean, I'll take it.
He ain't forgot about that $1,200.
Money for nothing, chicks for free.
Yeah, it did seem like just a huge blue balling, in a way. Because when I got on here, I asked, like, were they hyping Trump up this much last time? I don't know. Maybe it was just a long time ago. But
yeah, I don't know. The biggest faking gay about the whole thing was acting like they got fucking like hacked in the beginning and they had delay.
Oh yeah,
and, like that was so dumb. Like
that shit was probably like pre-recorded.
Yeah. The whole thing could have been pre-recorded. I mean, fuck, how do we even know? I mean, it could have been AI. Fucking, it could have been an AI Elon and an AI fucking Trump talking the whole time.
Does anyone know this person, Ezra?
Israel? No.
Ezra?
Yes.
I'm waiting.
Mindful exposures.
Bubbles.
What's up, girl?
I know Bernie. Bernie can back me up.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I know who she is.
You're cool then. You're cool.
I did his logo, so I'm cool.
Oh, okay.
I can do some graphic shit too, Drew.
Yeah, Bernie outsourcing the Bernie don't even come to me for the graphics, bro. He's outsourcing it. Shit.
Well, I ran into him, I think, before you two connected, and that's partly why, because he got it for free. Your money for nothing, any chicks for free.
That's right. What did you think of that?
Too. I heard it. I was like, I know this song in 8-bit. That was good. I was like, I kind of.
I would have played the real one, I'm sure, but then you get that strike and you got to take it out, and then the stream's all fucked up when you watch it later. What did you think of the Trump thing tonight, Ms. Ezra?
That was fake as fuck.
Fake and gay.
Fake and gay.
I could hear it in the voice, so there was like these weird legs, and I kind of called it a lisp. You could take, like, it was like a pattern thing. You could kind of break it out every once in a while, and every once, like in the beginning it was really good, but then they got lazy towards the end. I think maybe there was AI influence. I can't quite tell if it was that or actors, because there's people who are really good at Trump. Like, have you ever seen they did like a thing where somebody's saying Trump singing Landslide by Fleetwood Mac? It's fucking hilarious.
I never saw that.
But it's spot on. It's way better than what we were just listening to. So you could hear those laps. And I could hear it with Elon, and I was calling it like a reverse lisp because he kind of has a lisp. But it was like he was like regurgitating or kind of like sucking in on it. It was, I don't know how to explain it. Like somebody said something about dentures. I think that was Shannon. And I was like,
Yeah, that's what it
that
sounded like.
sounds
to me,
accurate. It
kinda.
sounded like he was like choking on it. Yeah.
Mouth was really
It was
wet.
fake as fuck. Yeah.
His mouth was like
Really wet.
I wonder if there's got to be like Twitter memes about it already. Him having a fucking lisp. Gotta be.
I can't even believe that happened. Like, what they
Yeah,
were.
I mean, I feel like he was like naked in like a bubble bath, like a gold bathtub, like bubble bath, and like like that's how I picture how that whole thing went.
Scotch
Actually,
and
went down.
cigars, right? Like that's what it sounded
Yeah.
like. Like they're just shooting the shit.
They were probably both in the same fucking bubble bathtub together, probably having that whole conversation in reality.
Okay, Denture Don is trending.
Well, you know what's weird too? They kept talking about fucking tunnels and shit too. They kept mentioning tunnels, and then he mentioned the Elon tunnel in fucking Vegas, which is the biggest fucking joke possible. Like it's the dumbest thing. There's no practicability to it. Like it's complete failure. It's like one tunnel that goes from one spot to another spot, and you have to like wait to get like a Tesla car by a driver, and then like it's the dumbest thing possible.
Is this like a ride or what?
No, it's supposed to like fix like traffic issues or whatever. Thunderfoot probably has the best expose on YouTube of how ridiculous the whole thing is. But
It's just fucking funny.
Elon.
Oh damn, it is trending, huh? Hello.
Yeah, he's trending. Denture's Don.
The Vegas loop.
Forgot my dentures.
Damn.
Damn, the left is
No
memeing all of
way.
a sudden.
No
The left is
way.
memeing, bro.
Shout out to Shannon.
The left is memeing hard all of a sudden. I think that was to be expected.
Oh shit. That's Don right there, bro.
Yeah, that's going to be Vouch's main topic for like the next 2 weeks now. He's just going to be
I
talking
thought
about the dentures and shit.
he was Kuman, I bet.
Oh, I was listening to his stream. He was restreaming it at the same time, doing commentary over it. I was listening to him at first, and I saw yours come up, and then I just listened to it without commentary. But I mean, those probably really aren't dentures. Those are probably actually real poor people teeth that he had crafted. Like George Washington. You just get slave teeth.
Yeah,
They'll say it's wooden teeth, but in reality, it was just slave teeth that were fashioned into a denture. In case you guys didn't know that, that's what that was. That's funny.
Don eating corn the long way.
Oof.
Oh,
Look at me.
Denture's Don, bro.
He probably. Oh yeah, he does. Wow, that was
proof.
These memes are coming awfully
That
fast.
means he's just Amish, dude. He's actually Amish. They all got dentures.
Wait, what? Really?
Amish, yeah. They just cut their teeth out or whatever. Put in dentures.
Wait, no, for real? Like that's like a common thing? I did not know that. What?
That's a thing. Maybe it's just the women. I think it's the men too, though. I think they just. I mean, all women should have their teeth removed, in my opinion. But I think their idea is that it's just like easier to take care of it if it's and cheaper in the long run than any kind of denture work and stuff.
That's weird. There's cultures that use like specific what do they call that? What do they call that in Africa? It's like more or less like a stick. It's like a type of floss, but the way that
Oh,
it
the
actually
mishwak stick or whatever the fuck it's called.
yeah, yeah,
Miswak stick.
yeah. And it's like this chewing aspect of it too. And then if you heard of oil pulling with coconut oil, and also I use this RSO mouthwash combination that I learned about. It actually helps regenerate your gum tissue. And
What is it?
Rick Simpson oil.
RSO is Rick Simpson oil. Yeah, connected
Oh.
like THC. Yeah.
What do you
And,
do? You like you swish with it? Is it pink swish?
Yeah.
That's that mind control shit. Pink swish.
Pink swish.
And then you just get high as shit.
But you have
Actually,
beautiful
no.
teeth. Though.
I mean, you can
become
control
a
what kind of
Manchurian
RSO you get, so you don't have to get the shit that like fucks you up. I have my ADHD is so strong I can't really do indica at all. I have to do almost all sativa products, and it's weird because the bud tenders, I'm in a state where it's been legal for a bit, and they look at me weird when I have to have these conversations about even like specific strands of sativa that cause that do you know that paranoia feeling that you first got when you first tried it? I realized that with my ADHD it's triggered heavily, and so if I focus more on the strains, like my strain is Citrus Mistress. It's a pretty good one.
Citrus Mistress. I can't even say that.
I know it's Citrus Mistress.
Citrus Mistress. And what is it? It's like a real mellow high or what?
Yeah, it's like it definitely has a lemon flavor, but for me it's a active high. So sativas are associated more with being productive. So I can clean and like I used to be able to work remotely. I don't work in the hospital system anymore, but I used to be able to do that easily. And I could function, and most people they were shocked if they found out that I had in all the years that I worked in that field anyway.
And you be smoking at work?
No.
Or no.
No, I mean you have to there was you couldn't do. I mean, when I was working nights and I was running sleep studies, there's no way, because you're like solely responsible. You could only take mild breaks but I had we have hilarious stories about patients bringing weed into, like, we couldn't let them smoke in the room, but we had this like 80-year-old woman with a bong. We're like, okay, we get it. We're going to document this. No big deal. Just go down in the parking lot, smoke your bong, and then come back up for your study.
What?
But I mean,
doing
it was a common thing.
Sleep studies, you said?
Yeah. I'm still registered, but I'm a clinical sleep educator, and I used to do sleep studies when I first started, and I did it for a decade. So I'm reading EEG, their brain activity. But one of the main things we also did was we're watching actual EMG, your muscle twitching in your chin and your arms and your legs. And then also on top of it, the brain, and then on top of it, your heart. So we're watching like everything working together. So it's a little different than like if you went in for a seizure study, which is always going to be the full brain. But what we were doing is like watching it in combination, and specifically with like a lot of what we're doing is sleep apnea. I'm sure you've heard of CPAP machines. And so of course it's connected, but I worked with like one of the OG neurologists. So we were doing a little bit more, insomnia, narcolepsy.
I think EBT's got that sleep apnea shit. I think he's got
REM behavior. Oh yeah,
like
we could probably break it down. Where is he? Did he dip out? Fuck EBT.
Hey, sativa chick,
Be more.
Dude, I'm totally on your side, man. Like, cause the indica, like, I have MS and it makes it hard to walk. I just can't. I don't like it.
You have MS, isn't it already hard to walk or no?
Really? Oh, okay.
MS makes it extremely hard, impossible.
Well, so THC is key. Are you doing the Rick Simpson oil?
I want to try that. People keep
telling you got to do it.
I mean, I can't imagine it's any different than any other THC or cannabis products I've ever had. I mean, I can't.
It's more like smoking. It's way more like smoking, in my opinion. Like, I can't do edibles because they kind of mess, right? Like with the nausea. I think you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I smoke too much of it. It's fucking my teeth up.
Wait. You smoke too much what? Like just flour or resin?
Flour. Yeah. I
And it's
don't get
fucking your
into
teeth
the.
up? What are you
Yeah,
doing with your teeth? Like, how are you brushing your teeth?
every day. I mean, I've been
Oh,
smoking
well,
it.
that actually, weirdly, that's part of it because actually, like, aggressive, and some people don't even realize we're aggressive. So, pulling, like oil pulling, is way better. You should do some, just coconut oil. Just start with that. And you have to do it for a while. So, you have
But,
to get used to it. Your cheeks will be
but
sore, but like 15 minutes of coconut
so
oil.
brush my teeth.
15 minutes.
Brush my teeth with
Yeah. In
coconut
the
oil.
beginning, you're going to be so grossed out, it'll drain your sinuses at the same
Nah,
time.
it won't really gross me out, I don't think. But like,
Well, what comes out of your mouth, you have to spit it out, and you need to make sure you throw it in the garbage. If you put it down the drain, it'll clog because it's thick.
oh god, I'll just spit it in the toilet.
So there's just gonna be
Yeah,
all
that's
this
a good
white
idea.
substance.
Well,
in
if you're
your-
you
you're
have good
spitting out
point.
white substance in your trash of your bathroom. No one's gonna think that's weird. They come use your bathroom.
Warn your family ahead of time. Your wife's
Oh.
gonna be like, babe, did you,
Yeah,
babe,
what the fuck
did you
were you
want to
doing
tell me
here?
something? Did you, I know times are weird.
Why'd you bring your phone into the bathroom with you? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's amazing what it pulls in for me. And I have a post nasal drip thing, and it's connected to like deep sinuses, so it'll pull all that, and it'll cause me to actually like cough up or pull all that stuff out. So it helps with your lungs, sinuses, and then your general mouth health. But sometimes actually brushing every day is counterintuitive. And that stick aspect, like you're chewing on it, it's like a dog. Like, I know that sounds so stupid, but you're working your gums more, which will work your tartar just as well.
If I
But
don't
when you
brush,
brush, you can be aggressive. I've been told, I found out from a dentist, she's like, you're really aggressive. I can tell. Like, you're just beating at your gums.
well,
So
I
I've
use
changed up how I do it a little.
I use a spin brush. I do fucking try and get whatever is in there that's stinking.
Well, it's important.
I floss
Definitely
all the
need
time.
to like pulling. So oil, like the coconut will pull all that out.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try it. All right, so you just put it on your teeth, or you just brush
No,
it
like
down?
take 2 tablespoons might be too much. So have like a
That's a
cup.
lot.
Hey, adaptable. Like, I know I'm not a doctor, and I would never claim to tell you to take any advice from me ever, because that's not the purpose of being
Well,
on
I'm
here
willing
ever.
to try. I'm willing to try because I've
Here.
used coconut oil and other stuff, so it's not a big deal.
But I do have a healthcare experience. So one of the things I mentioned, and I'll just leave it at this and shut up, but I had patients who came to me who were telling me these kind of crazy stories about carrying terminal cancer. They were going, and I'm not a doctor, and I don't claim this is accurate. So just want to make these statements that you don't need to take my advice. This is just like, storytelling, because that's what they tell you to do. But more than a handful, multiple of my coworkers heard these stories. I confirmed this with a doctor I worked with who told me that they're actually doing some sort of implementation of this in New York City. A doctor is. So these patients were telling me that they were curing their terminal cancer by going to a clinic in Mexico, going on an alkaline diet, and being put in an IV of vitamin C for 2 weeks, obviously for hours at a time, not 24/7, and coming home cancer-free and stumping the doctors. And there's a lot more to this. I could get into like German new medicine and because it connects. Regardless, this is part of why I talk about what I talk about. Sorry, thank you. I'm going to shut up.
Well, hey, can you stay in contact with me somehow, like on YouTube? Like, I'd be interested to learn more about what you have to talk about.
Well, and if you go to my YouTube, I actually have there was a TED Talk done.
Yeah. How
There's
do I
actually a few and I talk about breathing techniques that are stupid simple and have been shown to. I don't know if you know about Wim Hof. So I don't want to. Sorry, I'm not trying to take over this broadcast because that happens when I start to go on my topic. And I just got kicked off of one tonight because I triggered, and no offense, like it's all good. hopefully that all works out. But I definitely like was talking about this kind of stuff and triggered some people. So I do have shit to back this up, and I'm not trying to say go to my channel, but I have like videos on like getting into some of this more science stuff, and clearly my background does back me up a little bit. Been in the medical field for over a decade in this specialized field, and dude, Bernie knows me. Bernie knows my background. He and I go back. He knows I can back this up. I'm actually, you can like look me up. And with what my project is, my last name is going to start coming out. But like you can look up that I'm still registered. I'm still a sleep tech. And I'm a clinical sleep educator because of the other specialties that I got certifications in. Okay, thank you very much. Shutting up and stepping down from the soapbox.
Dude, send me a link to your what's your
mindful exposure. Chop, chop, chop. Ninja style, go.
There you go.
Drew, what the fuck? Is this supposed to be me and be more in the car or something? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely nothing. Well, I've tried to learn, but I'll calculate not a lot really. I've learned that you must treat people properly, and that you must proceed in a certain way. And you need to try and have a
Crickets.
Okay, sorry, I didn't realize my mic was muted. My bad. You got did everyone here go to Mindful Exposure's YouTube page? Do you have sativa videos on here?
Sorry,
no, is that
not specifically about weed, but I definitely like actually. So I live in Oregon, and I'm doing a community project, and part of what our grant programming is going to be is on the legalization of the psilocybin treatment. If you've heard about that with PTSD, especially with combat vets.
There you go.
Peter Thiel's trying to push that shit out too.
There's some really, and this goes, I actually do other information on like brain rewiring, which is highly connected to the mycelium, or like what we're getting into.
You're on
like,
this woo like hippie shit then.
Nah, well, like I think she might have a point though. I mean, if it does help certain people, for me, I mean, microdose and be like, oh no, where's the fucking trip? I need more.
Well, you still have to do the inner work. You can't just take the mushrooms.
What's this sounding like some Jack Talcott shit? What is the inner work?
There's so much more. There's so much more.
What is the inner work? What the fuck does that mean?
Like solo journey? How many days can you hang out in the woods by yourself there? Without
like
anything. No drugs, no nothing.
Oh shit. Talking about microdose and mushrooms and Trump. All right.
When Bernie shows up, you just mention those three in any order, and Bernie's there.
Right? Boom. I'm here.
Appreciate you, brother.
What's up, Bernie?
To see you. Oh, just enjoying that whole Trump Elon charade. And was it just Trump salivating so much from all of the viewers that made him sound like that? Or
yeah, I was wondering what the fuck that was, dude.
He had a fucking Jewish dick in his mouth or something.
Oh,
he was eating a Jew burger. Tonight's sponsor.
Yeah, he saw an ad for Jew Burger, home of the Jew Burger, and it just made him salivate.
All 3 hours.
Serves. What were your thoughts, Bernie?
I don't know.
Give it your rating.
I think he's kind of right about the border, but then it's like he's just so pro-Israel that you can't help but wonder and know that he is completely owned, and it's just the same side of the other coin.
Well, yeah, man.
Other side of the same coin. Sorry.
Israel owns everyone. Doesn't it seem like that? The right, the left, and the center.
Right? Look at Yee. Look what happened to Kanye when he tried speaking out.
Yeah.
There's some weird other infiltration. Goes across the board.
Well, they got all the money. That's how, because they just come give you some money and then they own you.
Yep.
Well, and they make American congressmen and senators all swear allegiance to Israel along with the U.S. Right?
They all got to bump
Yeah, what
their
was
head
that?
against the wall.
Find that. What was that lady's name? Cynthia McKinney or something? Yeah, it comes right up. You start typing Cynthia McKinney pledge to support Israel. Is it like a shorter one? She's got it's like a 9-minute video. It's not a short. Let me find a shorter one.
Did you say Gary McKinnon?
I have a bad feeling about what's coming with all this shit.
I thought we were pro-Palestine right now. I'm confused. I'm not paying attention. I'm
There is
sorry.
tremendous pressure
not pro anyone.
inside the political
Me either.
process to make sure that the voters stay aligned inside either the Democrat or Republican parties. Why? Because both of those parties have been captured by special interests. And those special interests are, quite frankly, the antithesis of the interests of the people. And so therefore, for example, if people in the United States care about education, but unfortunately there's a banker that gets in between the student and the student's ability to go to school, if they care about healthcare, there's the insurance industry that gets in between the patient and the doctor who is seeking to provide care. And so we have all of these special interests that have positioned themselves in between the political decision makers and the people themselves. The process now is more responsive to those special interests than it is to the values and the wishes.
No, this is Matt McKinney's wife. You never see her in his videos because it's dark in his house.
Of the American people. When I first went to Congress, I did not go to Congress to pay particular attention to any area outside of the Black community that I represented that was in need, and of course, U.S. Africa policy, which was abhorrent, and
Today,
unfortunately
lady.
still is.
Go.
But what I ran into, I bumped into at almost every turn were these special interests. And there's no more special interest that has any more influence than the pro-Israel lobby. And so then when I did outreach, for example, to the Muslim community in the United States, I bumped into the pro-Israel lobby, which of course does not want to have to contend with a politicized Muslim community, which is as large as and is as wealthy as the pro-Israel lobby is in the United States. So yes,
She's saying Muslims have as much money as the
and
Jews in
also
America.
was assaulted.
Yeah, that's what she said. Now, this is old, but I would assume it's still pretty much the same.
Interesting facts. Or,
What
well,
do you think about that? I mean, I think the Muslim money could be buying off these Democrats and stuff.
All religions,
Yeah.
they're all money based.
they're just so the Muslim interest groups are just paying for it to get people over the border, apparently.
Could
Buying
be.
off them
Oh, they're flooding over in UK.
Yep. That's
why it's about
Interesting
to
to see what they put their money into, right? It's something that's not really talked about or looked into that much in media. But there's a lot of Saudi dollars out there, right?
Oh yeah.
And they're getting arrested for even talking anything on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe it, but I don't see how much that's sustainable for like British police if these people just all start going online saying shit.
Well, it seems to be like, well, there's so many cases of it that have been documented, and These people are fucked.
Yeah, I'm not doubting it at all. I'm just saying, like, if all the people just start going online saying shit, what are they gonna do?
Lock everyone up. That's the goal, isn't it?
They ain't got that much damn space.
Yeah, what are they gonna do?
So I think the white man.
I
has to come
hear there's a
together.
gulag available in Vladimir
Well,
Putin's
they'll just be
Siberia.
they'll be making a lot of examples, and then people will step in line. Lockstep.
Yeah,
That's
but
true.
once they see more and more of these like violent crimes, I mean, I would hope
Yeah,
at least
that's crazy in itself.
Well, it's like you're allowed to do violent crimes. You're just not allowed to expose your opinions online, right?
we're just not allowed to be white, basically, and do anything.
That's pretty much.
That's basically what they hate white people, but they want to live where white people will live.
Why? It's so cold where we live.
No.
Just swap places.
Because of the Gibbs.
Not technically
Gibbs.
fully true.
The Gibbs are real, man. They got the welfare state and everything.
It only gets cold in the winter where I am. It's hot as fuck in the summer though.
Where are you at, B-more?
Baltimore. B-more.
Oh yeah.
B-more. I used to busk in Fells Point back in the day. Till BLM came around and kind of everybody went crazy, and then they started fucking things up, and then they shut down all the bars I played in front of. That's all gone. Oh well.
Sounds like the bars per corner capita in Milwaukee status.
Is that where you're at, Milwaukee?
That's where I'm from originally, is Milwaukee,
Okay,
Wisconsin.
I went to Milwaukee once for a concert. I didn't really know. This was like when I was young too. This was like I was maybe I don't know if I was even 21 yet, and we went.
Did you go to the rave?
Yeah, I went to the rave and saw Twisted. And
Worst
dude, I
place
couldn't
ever.
believe how fucking ghetto and shithole Milwaukee was. The biggest fucking
So
dumpster.
bad. Wait, what year?
Oh, it's
What
unreal.
year was that?
Dude.
It's gotten
like,
a little better, but
it had to be like 25 years ago.
okay.
Maybe like 2000 or something.
Yeah, like that's my time. Like when I was like,
Oh,
like
it was
my friends
fucking
actually have
Y'all hooked up at a rave in Milwaukee 25 years ago and just finding out now.
I mean, I don't know. Underneath the Juggalo paint, maybe.
What Juggalo? Paint? What paint?
Juggalo paint. I was at an ICP show. What was Twisted?
Oh, yeah.
Same
Okay,
thing.
okay. Sorry, I missed that for a second. ICP.
You don't even know about that, Ned. You know about that, Ned?
I'm not like my friend was into
ICP.
them, not as much, but like old school hip hop, and I'm sure like rhyme sayers, Midwest.
Yeah, I hated those because I'm from Minneapolis and everyone was just sucked
Really?
their dick. I was like, yeah, they loved them. I
Yeah,
was like,
they
bro,
did.
these guys are not that hot. Like, they're okay.
No, they're like and I mean, Atmosphere did write some good shit, and so did Brother Ali. But I agree, it's not like the entire. But then like Idea and Abilities was kind of underplayed, and there's some good bands.
There was
out
a
of that.
dude in Minneapolis back in the day. His name was Sandman. That dude was so fucking cold, dude. I should pull him up. He sounded
Do it.
like Bone Thug style. His shit was hard.
I feel like
he
that
never
sounds
really got
familiar.
play.
The Sandman.
See, there you go, man. Nice.
Let me see if I can find if he's even got some shit on here. It was so long ago. Yeah, this dude right here. Sandman.
I
dude,
bet
his
I've
shit
heard
was
this
tight,
song.
dude.
No joke.
Being able to have something to always protect myself with this Burna allows me to have that peace of mind no matter.
Buyburner.com.
I don't know about this dude already. I don't know about this one.
I hear Bone Thugs, man.
Okay, that's very
Double
Midwestern.
time at 2 USA.
I can't fuck with that beat. But this dude's wild.
Yeah, I know, but that super fast rap like that can be
The double time while playing it at
kinda
2x.
funny that
That's
people-
for something else.
It's
No, I
pretty
wasn't even on
fantastic.
2X, was I?
I think you
That's just how fast.
It sounds so familiar. I never had his album, but I can't remember what he was famous for. I'm sure there's like, you know.
He would
How
do like
about
local shit.
you
It's
should look
not
up
good shit.
shit, what was the name? I can't think of the name of them all of a sudden. It's Heart-Shaped Box.
Nirvana.
No. No.
It's a little
God damn,
underground
I
band.
can't
You
think of
might
their
have heard
name all
of.
of a
It's called
sudden. It's gonna
Nirvana.
come to me 1 second.
Is it from
They were
Minnesota?
really underground.
Oddballers. The
Actually, I
Oddballers.
think they might have been Illinois. It might have been more Chicago, but they were white as
That's
fuck.
CBT shit.
But it was a
They're
good
white as
song.
fuck.
It's a really solid
Oh,
song.
I know. Actually, I know who you're talking about. What the fuck are they called? Damn.
I know it's pissing me off. Hold on, I'm gonna find it. 1 second.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's just like right on the tip of my tongue. I can't.
In this heart-shaped box. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna find it.
Players Lounge Club.
No.
That's a good one though.
PLC, baby.
Oh,
You guys know
the
about all
Crest.
this underground
The
shit.
Crest. This is so old school. They like have
What
zero
is it
followers.
called?
So if you don't know
What is
this
it
song,
called?
I wouldn't be surprised. The band is The Crest, and it's Heart-Shaped Box. Not with the
Shit's gonna be
hyphen.
trash.
Without the hyphen.
It
It's a
came
good
right up
song.
when I started typing it.
It's a solid song. Yeah, right there, dude.
70,000
Skeptic.
views. Yeah.
Dude, this is my old friend Skeptic, and we used to do rap battles with this guy.
Oh no shit.
Okay, I'm on 1.5 maybe.
With the cards in my heart, you can't call the bluff. I'm working hard on my part, still starving. What can you say about a person when that's all he does? I'm OJ with the verses, leave a wall of blood. You can't say I'm not determined, you can call it love. Music's like churches to all of us. Problems will surface and all the fuss will come out with your purpose to start a buzz.
And I might not know the people you do. I hang in crowds, you might expect me to. So please excuse this, I need to do this. Trumps all else, so I pump the music. And I'm not just here to blow my own horn, and I'm not just here to make my money. I'm just here cause a heart don't fit in a box, and that's what you can't take from me.
Take a turn like a blinkers on from the burn and learn to forget the storm. Whether you Kurds or Serbs, orcs, kings, or pawns, you deserve to get heard for the things you fought. Yep, for the things you saw. You deserve to be certain the things they are. You can serve to a sermon to pimp your car, long as you determine the things too far.
I can make like a raven and watch all the fakes as I pray on the fly. I'm in a place I can say what I want, all within this heart-shaped box. All within this heart-shaped box. This is living the right verse, right in the.
This shit sounds tight.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Do you need when he was doing that other guy you played with that fast rap kind of rhythm? That's what I was
Yeah.
talking about, that Midwest flavor. Like that's common. And I feel like these guys sort of replicated that.
Yeah, for sure. Where's B Smiley in the chat? Sound like some B Smiley.
I love it. It's good shit.
B
Nice.
Smiley. I'm trying to remember some other motherfucking Minnesota. They had so many little underground little bands and shit, or little rappers and shit.
Right? POS. POS is
Who's that?
good. It's P.O.
POD.
You know his shit. What's his I know you know his shit because he's actually part of
never heard
Rhyme
of him.
Players, is he not? But he's kind of ASAP Rock-ish.
See, I don't really fuck with that
But
stuff.
not
That's
as
really
like
known.
no, he's got better shit. Not all, like I would agree, like his earlier stuff, to be honest, because some of his older stuff is way too trying too hard, like ASAP. Not ASAP Rocky. You know what I'm talking about when I say that, right?
Yeah, there's
ASAP Rock versus ASAP Rocky. Like that pisses me off.
I don't really fuck with either of that shit.
Okay, I get it because ASAP Rock is really different. Regardless, POS kind of has, but his early shit is good. Like stand up, do POS stand up.
Watch.
Don't do
POS stand up.
Yeah,
This better not be
the
some
song
bullshit.
Stand up. It's an older song. It's really good. Yep, right there. Yep.
He's black.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, POS. Don't stand up. Yeah.
know this track.
Nice. Oh, from me. You know the song from me, Bernie. Because Richie and I had this.
It's funny when the movement makes the mainstream, but still don't do shit but blues and
Yeah, I had him put it on an intro video.
Truth is, the kids are losing steam, and to say it's a shame to undermine it. We're talking about the most hated machine of all time. It's the playing the game of most of our lives, but in November, who had the patience to stand in line? It's
I need more gangster shit than that. I need to slap hoes and fucking sell drugs.
Shit. In the graveyard, but Big L.
Grave diggers. Grave diggers.
OMD.
I need some horrorcore or some shit. That's my shit. What it used to be. I don't really fuck with any of that shit
All
anymore.
good. All right, it's all good. No disrespect.
So how do you go from POS running my life
shit
and Mishwalk stick?
I enjoy the connection though, because
what started your journey down like health and wellness?
Back, I guess like from early age, and then actually what got me into sleep medicine though was kind of a super random path. I ended up in Oregon. I had a close friend who was an office manager
Heroin
at a
addict?
sleep lab. Sorry, say that again.
You were a heroin addict?
No, never. Actually, super weird story, random story, but the high school I went to, every other year we had a heroin overdose. And then every other year we had some sort of like tragic death, usually associated with like a tragic accident or some other random like circumstance, like a brain hemorrhage but it was like they called it the Cedarburg curse. But literally we had a lot of people die of heroin overdoses. So at a young age, I kind of immediately wanted to stay away from that. Probably why I was already like deemed, first to be mom. Never happened for me, and not to say it's my days are over, but just circumstances at the time. And anyway, like just that's who I've been. So it was just like I think meant to happen. But my friend, it was happenstance. It was before they had it fully licensed. So I slipped in it, and then I had to take all the tests. I wasn't allowed to touch a patient for months. I had to like put electrodes on a plastic head and like do my measurements and all that, like, and then take all these tests. Way before I could even start working with the patients, and then I don't need to obviously show my resume because that would be weird, but I just accelerated in what I was doing. I loved it. I absolutely loved every second of it. I actually wrote a book. I didn't publish it because of circumstances with what happened with the pandemic, but now I'm creating a whole new.
Oh shit! What do you mean? Did you talk about the reality? And then
the reality. What?
The reality of the whole 4.5 years of bullshit.
Oh, you mean with the medical shit?
Well,
we don't need to go down that tonight. That's a whole. Come on, I've already taken over way too much.
I'm just asking. Was that what exactly got you not publishing your book?
Oh, being taken advantage of by my employers, trying to actually steal it. Like, and I won't get into it, but I have several lawsuits, that could be, but I'm not going to do that shit. I'm not here to do that. I'm moving on. There's so much more to be done.
Just write
there's
a whole
already
other
like
book.
really good work being done, beyond that. And I actually worked for a doctor at one point who I could still sue to this day. She was in the middle of 5 lawsuits herself. This doctor I work for.
Why are you suing everyone?
I could tell you. No, I'm not. I could tell you stories for days though on the other end of the hospitals and like the doctors.
Stick to one story at a time.
Shit, like I got stories for days.
You have like 5 tabs of stories open. Stick to one story at a time.
Exactly. That's my ADHD. ADHD.
All over the place, but that's like my mind in a way too. I try not to digress.
I'm working on it, especially in that professional realm, but you
Big
have to have
time.
moments of just letting it out. And it's, fatality. Sub-Zero. This is old.
Yeah,
This is good.
This was my shit, man.
Right?
I remember us always, what's the have you done any of the friendship ones? I probably missed it. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
The friendship endings.
I
Yeah.
probably
there's
spent like
there's some
fucking
really-
$5,000 on this game in the arcade.
I played this game so many times as a kid.
You mean like
Okay, so
$5,000 of quarters?
Which
Yeah.
did any of
I
you
had
guys
worked
play
a
with
job
the
and I would
original?
just play this all day, dude, at this bowling
Damn,
alley by my
bro.
house. I was a savage.
I guess when you add it up, you can find out, how much did I spend on that?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
ridiculous.
there you go. The friend.
Friendship.
Gives them a
Yeah,
doll.
Street Fighter 2. I was a beast at Street Fighter 2 also. But once it got to 3 and all the shit past 2, I didn't fuck with it anymore. I was into girls at that point.
Yeah, that was
You
all.
can't
that
get
was-
girls playing Mortal Kombat all day.
No, you cannot. I got a friend
That's
that's still
not-
playing this in his parents' basement,
not
not getting
all
any
day.
girls.
No.
Like not all day, but you later met the lady that wanted to play the games. Like in college, we had Dr. Mario tournaments and Halo tournaments all the time before we went out. That was the shit.
Yeah, there's some chick gamers out there.
I'm not that great.
No-
What's your
nowadays
I
there
was
is.
gonna say, do any of you remember that original RPG game, Ultima Online? Like the first online.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Fuck yeah. Like the first 2D.
I never really fucked with it, but I know what you're talking about.
Fatality.
I worked at a Comp USA. Do you even know what a Comp USA is?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I do. I was born in 85.
Did they
So,
close
Yeah.
all them down? Are they gone?
Yeah, they're gone. I didn't know anything about computers at all, and then I just got a job at CompUSA and bought a computer and just kind of like jumped headfirst into computers because I wanted. This was in like probably like '98.
Yeah,
I just wanted to
man.
learn how to do it, so I just like did it.
MS
Didn't know how
DOS
to
days.
shit.
Better than
But it was
paying for
tight,
school
yeah.
for that shit.
My dad is like OG with filmography and original
With what?
computers, like filmography, like
Oh,
original
filmography.
or like videography, original like editing.
Right.
He
Yeah.
had one of the first systems ever, and he taught me. One of my first jobs was actually doing our senior video for my high school. Super, and people's sports highlights. I would help my dad do that stuff all the time. I actually really enjoyed it, which is what got me into graphic arts. And I actually did go to school for it, but that's how partly why I came out here. But if you guys know, the Art Institute is heavily bought out. It's wherever they've established, they've worked with the like adjacent major company. So in Oregon, it was Nike, and they like established themselves as a fashion school. I was trying to go for the film aspect. Of course, it's connected with Hollywood. Of course, there was weird optics even on the documentary end, which is where I was trying to go. And more or less, Nike actually had teachers who were not qualified or had no degree working at the Art Institute. And I was paying like double what you would pay at a general university beyond a community college. It was bullshit. It was like I called it out anyway. We don't need to go down that route, but yeah.
That's how all your stories start. You're like, we don't need to go down there.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm done. I promise. Thank you.
Y'all heard about the conspiracy about all these like clothing brand tags having like messages written on them like "save me" and like "help me" and stuff like that, like coming out of
No, what are you
Bangladesh or
talking
something.
Maybe. What? Now what are we doing?
Yeah, apparently on like a bunch of
Alright.
cheap clothing manufacturing brands, on like the tags, the name brand tags, like the workers like from sweatshops are like writing messages of like "save me" and like "help me, I'm being held captive" and all sorts of crazy shit.
On like some Sheen clothes or something.
Yeah, apparently.
Where are you seeing this? This sounds like some
My
TikTok.
girlfriend was telling me about it. Apparently, it was trending
yeah,
on
she
like
saw that shit on
Facebook or
TikTok,
something.
dude.
I don't know.
I ordered this dress on Shein for $6, and the tag said, "Help me." It had that little music playing.
It's like Wayfair shit.
Yeah, I guess Timu. It's Timu, I think.
Oh, okay.
That
Well, now I
apparently
believe it.
has-
Timu will send you a fucking whole like squat rack for 69 cents free shipping.
Are you sure it wasn't just disgruntled Walmart workers?
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm asking, right? I got no
I'm
idea.
making a joke, man.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it because, like, it's bullshit. Those poor people. You poor people. I'm sorry. That's so
Yeah, I need that clip on here.
you do.
Stay down there, poor people. Fucking funny. That's who is that? That's Rose
It's
777.
Crow 777 with Crow
Is she now? Is she
777.
Crow's like wife
Yep.
or some shit, or just friends?
I don't know that. Sorry, I don't know that detail, but somebody probably does.
Yeah, well, no.
Hey,
These guys are fighting inside of China right now. Oh my goodness! Look who's here.
Ezra,
Look who's here.
Ezra.
Biggest guest of the day right here. RT in the house.
Two more. Sorry, I'm still here, but sorry, RT. What's up?
What's up, RT?
What's going down?
What's going
What-
on, man?
We
Hey,
want to hear
Drew.
your take on the Trump thing. Did you watch it?
No, you know what? I didn't see it, but so I'm gonna be a
Elon-
lame. I'm gonna be a lame guest.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah. No,
You'll fit right in.
no, but Drew, I mean, kudos to you for doing your thing here recently. I mean, it's like
Well, yeah, I finally got a laptop, so I can finally
yeah,
do
and
some shit.
and your family's growing. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
Layla, blessings to her.
I'm a very blessed man.
Yeah, you are. I mean,
Sure.
definitely. But so my apologies. So, I mean, anything Trump says, it's got to be, just
Trumped up.
he's just blowhard or whatever. But the other side is worse. So, what are we left to do? Like America has no, what are you gonna do?
Well, what are
you
your
gonna
thoughts on RFK then? Is that truly a third option or just
Well,
more
I
of
was
the
I was
same?
just gonna say like that guy, he seemed, like he was against the whole jab and all that kind of stuff, and then he does stupid stuff like require during the whole midst of it, requires people. He was having a family party or whatever, Christmas party, and supposedly like that you needed to prove to be jabbed to attend, so it's almost like
Holy
you
shit.
know who,
Ew.
what is the consistency here, but that could be totally
Exactly.
hearsay and so forth, but
But that's Trump
mean-
too. Like with the lockdowns, and so many people are so quick to back
oh
without
Trump
acknowledging that.
don't get me
I know.
started
I'm
on
sorry. Not with
yeah.
you. I'm not going that.
No. But like that whole Trump thing, his last period, his last year, March of 2020, the dude said, we're just going to try to flatten the curve for 2 weeks. And the next thing you know, the whole we can't even buy toilet paper, so, and then he's like,
That was a fun game.
he, Project Warp Speed or whatever the
Yeah,
hell it was called, Operation Warp
That-
Speed,
that-
and there's a beautiful, everybody should get, like that was all him, and people
Yeah.
forget that.
His baby.
Well,
He's
people
the
don't
guy
know
who
about
bullshit.
Uranium One. People don't know actually what happened with Trump when he was in office. He was called out because some troops died in Niger, Africa, and everybody was like, "Why the fuck are we in
In
Niger,
where?
Africa?" In
Where were they?
Niger, sorry, Niger, Africa, Niger,
Niger.
Niger, not the other
Can you
word.
spell that, please?
Niger.
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 So the reason we were there
Niger
was for
uppercut.
uranium.
Niger.
And
Oh, shit.
I like that.
You know,
I
it's a
can't
white
help it,
panel
it's
win.
funny. So yeah, Niger for the win. And then here's the other kicker. Sorry, Trump's in there when he's in office. He gets called out because he didn't actually acknowledge that these like 4 troops died. And everybody's like, are we in fucking Niger, Africa? And they're like, oh, uranium is one of the number one sources
Niger.
in the world. Is there?
It's
Okay, hold on. It's
Niger. It's
almost the
Niger.
same time.
Niger.
Niger. Did I really? Am I saying it?
You're saying Niger.
It's kind of like Liger. Liger was in
Oh my God, are you
Napoleon
kidding me?
Dynamite.
I swear to
I got
God,
a
I heard it
Niger
was
on my
Niger.
Liger.
You
Yeah.
must be a
That's the new
stone
Dr.
Liger.
Seuss book. Niger on my Liger.
Yeah, but please proceed.
Okay, really quick. The last part of this. Oh, fuck. Fuck you, Bernie. Okay, I love you. Anyway, the last part of this is that I feel like it was prior. So prior to this was the Malheur Refuge takeover. And if you don't know, the Clinton Foundation was trying to secure land in parts of Oregon. And the Malheur Refuge is in this like central part where there's one of the number one sources of uranium in America. And they were trying to secure land. But what's weird is there's a long story between the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, and this family. All of a sudden, their last name's lapsing. It starts with an H. It's not Hancock. Fuck, I'm gonna mess it up. Anyway, somebody will probably spit it out. But they tried to say it had to do with them burning illegal land, and it has to do with them like they use the land for their cattle. And there was this whole thing to try to secure extra land so they would be able to, get their resources in this area. So anyway, just gonna throw that out there. They're friends. Do you know who Wilbur Ross is? Trump's best friend. Yeah, Rockefeller Rothschild.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Name dropper.
Were you talking about the guy that had the standoff with the federal marshals?
Wilbur Ross was Trump's like right-hand man, who was his executive assistant. And prior to that, he worked, I think somebody's going to correct me, I think it was the Rothschilds. That was his like immediate reference. But he was Trump's right-hand man.
I thought he was the commander of the Niger army, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, really? I think I might have read. No, really, because I might have read that. Okay, I'm gonna shut up.
I'm totally joking here.
I know you are.
Yeah.
I know you are. I know you are.
The Niger army. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
Niger. Sorry, I said Niger.
Niger.
Like, I'm sorry, like Liger.
You're right.
Completely mispronounced that. That's why everybody was confused.
Oh shit.
God. Yeah. I mean,
I was confused. I thought you were talking about like Amon Bundy or whatever. I must be thinking of something totally different.
Amon Bundy?
I'm so confused.
No, but I know what you're saying, Drew. There was another dude that had kind of like more of an exotic name that was his kind of like confidant.
Steve Bannon?
Nah, it was, but with Trump, who knows? Who knows?
Was his
So what was the controversy? I still don't understand.
Wilbur Ross. Wilbur Ross.
But somebody died or something? Is that what you're saying?
Look up who Wilbur Ross was.
And ain't nobody got time for that. Who is he?
Oh, live Trutherin. Shit, we watched Mortal Kombat.
Who is he? This is the last guy. He's almost
I'm just trying to like point out who he was in association with Trump and everybody.
What was the controversy? That Trump killed somebody or that somebody died? I mean, on his watch.
Did Wilbur
I think she said 4 troops died in Niger.
Niger.
Not Niger.
Niger. And Niger.
Niger.
I have a Canadian accent, okay? I say Niger.
Niger.
But I'm from Wisconsin. Like, how could I be any better? I'm like, hey.
Bernie says New Joes.
Like when I first learned Spanish, they're like "hola." I'm like "hola."
Kintaro wins.
Oh,
Just fuck
estás.
that dude
I'm
up
very
so bad.
German, but don't get me wrong, I do know it. I'm way more fluent than that now.
So so you all I tuned in early and then had to dial off. So Trump had a news conference or a press
It was
conference
like
or
he went on X with
oh
Elon Musk.
okay.
And did a conversation, which it was just like this panel where we're talking about nothing. That's basically what they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
They talked about Niger and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
No,
didn't say
that's my
much at
fault.
all.
That's all me. Don't listen to me. Move on.
Was it did they what did they reveal? What was
They
the
said that
takeaway?
60 million people were watching, and that Trump had a lisp, and that Kamala was bad on the border, and that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah, Trump had a really bad lisp tonight for whatever reason.
Huh.
Indentures Don is trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
And
Kamala's
that's possible.
Elon's voice was weird.
Kamala's supposed to be the border czar, right? Fucking border czar.
I mean, we talk about Biden being, ancient and so forth, but like Trump is 78, so come on.
Yeah, he's right up there.
He's right up there. So
But he's not nearly as
So this is a
no, I agree. I agree with that, but like it's just a matter of time for these fucking
I mean,
people.
either way, I think we're pretty much fucked. But I mean, I hate to be pessimistic, but I'm more realistic.
So Drew, you have firsthand knowledge of the former or the existing governor of Minnesota, the new VP.
Kamala's VP.
Yeah,
He's a huge dipshit.
It sounds like it. I mean, we wouldn't have even known who the fuck that guy was.
No one knew who. So I don't know if you guys
not
have
a
this.
member of Ducks Unlimited.
The other night I streamed and I talked about this.
Yeah.
But in case you missed it, I said that my buddy in Minnesota, his son is in 9th grade high school now, and the principal came on and talked about the furries, and you got to give the furries this respect and shit. And then they also have there's
God.
like they have unisex bathrooms where it's just all stalls. So they have 12th grade boys going in the same bathrooms as 9th grade girls.
I mean, what could go wrong
And just
there?
yeah, exactly. What could possibly go wrong?
Please.
Dude, why don't the parents all stand up and fucking say
That's
no,
the
no?
problem.
You'll get your
Like-
kids
So when they're
taken
having
away at
sex
this
with
point.
animal noises,
Communist
it's just,
takeover over there.
Guys, yeah.
But
come
look,
on.
let's be clear.
Hold on.
There could be nothing that goes on, but all it would take would be a 9th grade girl who was like pissed at a senior who's like the star of pickup athletic team, claims in that bathroom shit went down, and that would ruin his life.
Yeah.
Hey, don't give them any ideas now.
But I mean, that's the reality of it. Come
It's
on.
gonna start happening all over the place.
Fucking
You're probably
ridiculous,
right.
man.
Totally ridiculous.
But that's how it
You
is.
just
up
had a
there.
man beat up a bunch of women and get a gold medal for it.
Yeah. And they had my buddy said too, like if your kid wants to LARP that is trans, and then if you as the parent don't go along with it, the teachers are supposed to call like CPS on you.
Yeah, legitimately.
Yeah.
Fucking insane. I don't think people
God,
realize how
this
bad
is insane,
Minnesota is
dude.
like literally California. It's literally just as bad as California or New York or like any crazy liberal stranglehold. It's that bad.
Well,
And they're like,
during the whole
educating
this.
dildo.
Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
sorry.
I'm sorry. No, please.
No, I've talked.
No,
That,
I
I
was-
just
I-
was gonna say about the sex toys, and I'm done.
Oh, sex toys, by all means.
And then you're done or you're finished.
Good one.
I don't need no
Yeah.
toys. Just saying.
Okay.
All right then. What was that about sex toys?
She don't need no sex toy.
I'm just saying that it's been over, obviously this is what I get into, just like overcomplicating things in general. You really, I mean, I know they have ancient quote unquote dildos that they've, excavated.
Like, whatever happened to promoting sexuality to children being illegal? Like, now they're going on and being like, you gotta respect the furries. Like,
That's
Hold on.
fucking crazy, man.
What
They
the?
wanna
No, so are
legalize
you
it. They
gonna
wanna
fuck your
legalize
horse?
pedophilia.
Because that's what that sounds like. What the fuck?
Do they have litter boxes
Take
in
your
the fucking
goat out
bathrooms?
back. 'Cause that's what
Well, I'm
that's
sure they do.
justifying.
Oh my god, dude.
Seriously,
doubt
how
it.
is it not? Sorry, I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited.
Like they got a shit in a litter box. Well, I don't know if they all do, maybe because they
Yeah,
don't want to get
in
their
that.
furry costume all full of shit.
Yeah, well, people can
White
criticize
supremacy.
criticize the founders of the Commonwealth of Virginia as being backwards, but yeah, early on they instituted a 4-year limit on governorship. So you only serve 4 years. There's no 4, 8, 12, whatever. So that keeps
Okay.
these people legitimate. But the issue was during the 4 years that was around the CV thing, we had a governor, his name was Ralph Northam, and he was exactly like the dude that's the current VP over there in Minnesota. Like he was total lockdown, completely like that. 1,000%. So we went through that. We lived through that.
And
Yeah.
all we're doing is regurgitating the same thing over and over
Yeah.
again because we're not actually establishing the fact that if we vote with our dollars, so where you spend your money every second of every moment,
And that
is where
is the
we're
only
voting.
voting democracy left.
you.
Where you spend your money.
Yep.
Right?
So it's not actually that complicated, to be honest, you guys. And I'm not trying to boast like, oh, hey everybody, come on over, because I'm not gonna plug the name or the project I'm doing. But I'm gonna tell you it's not that hard for us to be branching off right now.
Why are you clickbaiting all the time?
I'm telling you, like, we can. Oh fuck!
You're like, I'm
Drew.
doing this amazing thing, but I'm not.
Yo.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Drew.
Promo code amazing
Really? Is that
thing.
what I've come off of? Fuck. I'm sorry, Drew.
You all need to really check into my channel because promo code amazing things. It's amazing.
I have said I've like used that term, right? Like I have said that. Fuck.
Yeah. Well, we all have, but
done.
But
Nope.
yours is truly amazing. I mean, the rest of us
Yeah.
are like,
No,
yeah.
like exceptional, the best of the
Yeah.
best. Like you must
Yeah, for sure.
come this way.
Okay, real quick. Smith in the chat says, I'm proud to say I've not been to Walmart in 3 years and I have bought one thing off Amazon in 4 years. I'm in Walmart every day, dude.
And
the
I can
cheapest
actually
place.
stand with Smith on that.
Yeah. Why
yeah.
is he proud
Walmart
about
longer,
that? Just
but
like he's
Amazon.
shitting on the system.
Walmart is the cheapest place for everything.
Wally World.
Actually, for really better quality food, Trader Joe's, even though they've been up to some shady shit,
Trader Joe's,
have,
you can't even afford the motherfucking
have
cover
cheaper
price.
have
Trader
cheaper
Joe's,
food
that's expensive.
on some
Trader
levels
Joe's
actually
got a
than
damn
Walmart. I can
2-drink
own you on
minimum
that.
to get in there.
Hey, Drew, real quick. When do you think was the last time that we had legitimate presidential, candidates?
Oh man.
VP
Like
and
respectable, you mean? Or
yeah,
you mean
respectable,
like
legitimate, like that you could I say 2012 -ish.
Ralph Nader.
They never.
Nader.
Yeah, I think it goes way back.
Ron Paul.
Way back.
No, but I
Do you
mean,
know that
like
Russia
where
had
they
a
where they
settlement?
weren't just a comical thing. Like it was.
it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah,
through
yeah,
the years.
worse and
It
worse.
started
Yeah.
with like the Clinton blowjob, and then every year they kind of like disgraced the presidency some more.
It's all drunk politics. That's what it is.
Honestly, Obama wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, his policies were shit, but as far as him
But-
being a smooth talker, and he didn't really have any
But what did
scandals.
he get a Peace Prize
I
for?
agree- I agree
It was,
with
like,
you,
literally
Drew.
shit talking.
In
and that was
hindsight.
the start of the propaganda bullshit.
He was
So,
the
unfortunately,
Antichrist,
I was a big Obama pusher. I fucking.
He was
like,
shucking
went
and
out and was
jiving
like,
for everyone.
No. I just,
Yeah.
I have to like shout out that he actually was a total fluffer. His whole and his what was like the drone strikes, was obviously more than Bush.
Obama
I think
launched more
actually Trump is
bombs
more than
and wars
him,
than any
right?
other
That
president.
bullshit. Yeah, on and on.
Yeah, but I mean, we know they just sort of like, go along with what they're told, in the end. But at least give us the appearance or the charade of, being, legitimate free world leaders. I mean, come
Right.
on.
Imagine what these
Yeah.
other countries will think of like Kamala and Tim Walz if they got to deal with them.
Oh
Like
my
these fucking
God.
these sheiks
My
and Arab
parents
sheiks and all
thought
these other Putin and shit.
I mean,
my
if
parents
you're a
thought
former
Obama.
football coach, I mean, come on, please.
Yeah, he's a weirdo.
Yeah.
I got a family
Drew,
member that's a big Kamala fan. It's pretty fucked.
Oh wow.
It's a woman or a man?
Woman.
Of course.
I mean, how obvious is it with her candidate, her vice president candidate? It's so obvious.
I mean, that dude looks so old to be 60. I can't even
To be
believe
60, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, Drew, I'm over 60. You've seen me. Like,
Right.
what the fuck? I mean,
I just saw an interview with the old wrestler Hillbilly Jim, and he's in his 70s. And I thought, wow, this guy looks good. And I looked up his age, and he's like 70
Yeah.
something. I'm like, wow, he looks way younger than this fucking 60-year-old guy.
that
Yeah, my
guy is
dad
going
is
to be
in
ridden
his
hard
70s.
and put up wet or something.
Hillbilly Jim traveled the world and did probably steroids and all kinds of shit, and he looks better than this guy.
Yeah.
And he says he's
Many
60
of us
years
do.
old.
Yeah, he's
Dude,
only
bullshit.
60. Not
60
even
years
61.
old.
Yeah. He's barely out of his 50s.
His background, like him, like boasting about being this gunman, and then she's gonna take away gun rights. He's like this marksmanship, and he's yelling this on his platform. Like, what? That's so ironic.
Yeah,
This
they're
is
calling
such
him
a
Coach
fucking
Walls.
show. Sorry.
I mean, it's insane. The whole
Right?
selection is totally insane.
Yeah, this was Minnesota. This is
light
not
them up, and then that's when you get the. We'll play it again.
They kill somebody for paintballs, probably. Fucking Minnesota? Come on, fuckers.
This is no fucking joke.
Oh, sad.
And if you pay attention,
crazy.
For me to laugh.
I can't imagine living in Minnesota,
'Cause
during
that's
the
never
last
happened.
4 years with all the whole
Just
thing.
like me
that
when
went
I
down.
Not a normal week, which is a good thing. Started out missing a call from the vice president. Pretty
He's like
important one.
59 years old,
and then
basically.
got that call and honored
You gotta be fucking be kidding me.
What? No way.
How is this guy 59 years old? He's 60.
No way. No way.
My dad is 74, and I'm not joking. His hair won't gray. He looks exceptionally better.
Now we know this dude ain't drinking no adrenochrome. At least we know that much.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's
But
not
he
plugged into
just
that whole
quit-
thing.
Quit cold turkey like 5 years ago, maybe.
I have a friend. She's a 72 retired dietitian. She looks better than this guy.
My dad's
Yeah.
got anal cancer.
Oh man.
He
I mean
beat it.
prostate.
He beat prostate. Nice.
Oh no, it's kicking his ass. Hey, RT,
Oh,
can you
he
say
beat it.
Lou,
Scott,
Lou, Lou?
sorry.
What?
I'm sorry.
Can you say Lou, Lou, Lou?
Not me.
I don't know what you're saying, JG.
What?
Can you say Lou, Lou, Lou? Do it for the
Who?
culture.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
Ah man, I'm out of here.
Wait. JG, for who? Your dad? For Lou? Your dad? Lou,
No,
Lou, Lou?
RT sounds like old man Butters. I thought it'd be funny if you said Lou, Lou, Lou.
No, EBT
Oh
is
my
Butters.
God,
It's
dude.
Bubbles. Butters. Wait, who's
Old
Butters?
man. Please. I can't wait.
You're the
I'm
man,
gonna-
RT. You're the man.
I can't wait till you're an old man, JG. That's what's going to be hilarious because you're going to be there. You
Much love
critique
to your
old
family.
people, and then you're going to be there. I'm going to laugh my ass off. That's the thing.
I'll still look like I'm 17 when I'm 50.
Oh yeah, right.
Listen to this
50's
live.
young.
He's a
50's young.
baby. Yeah.
And
Go
both
for
of
it.
you, with your keen understanding of how this works, especially from National Guard families, I can tell you this, having been one of those that came back, we were in support of OEF, but being sitting in there with OIF veterans, when we came back, they showed us the horse whisperer and told us to be nice when we went home. And that was the extent of it. That was in 2004.
What?
Now, I'm proud to say that because of the people sitting in here and people who came before me,
looks like
things
Rob
have
Ford a
changed
little
over the
there.
last 4 years.
Fuck,
They have
he's-
not
he's
changed enough.
way
But
fatter
Mr. Kennedy
now,
is
or
following
then.
and moving something forward that the late senator from Minnesota, Senator Wellstone, advocated so clearly: mental health parity, and this issue of destigmatizing mental health, of understanding. And I, being in there and knowing as a first sergeant, know exactly what you're saying, and watching as people aren't trained on this, that there is there's a discrimination that goes against a soldier who has the courage, the fortitude, and, as you said,
Okay, this is weird.
Damn. Yield
Do you
the
guys
mic,
know that
dude.
currently the United States have over 50% of our homeless population is veterans, and we're the highest of that percentage
Yet
across
you're
the world.
housing illegal immigrants, yet over half the
So
homeless
what the fuck
population
is happening to this guy? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just bitching about how you pay for the illegal immigrants and the Ukrainians to stay in nice hotels, and you can't even take care of the war vets. That's crazy.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Fucking crazy.
Messed up.
Yeah, that's Minneapolis right here. It's not fucking. This looks like third world country or some shit.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yes, it does.
Fucking crazy.
Looks like Gaza.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, we hear that like you wouldn't even recognize San Francisco. We were there in
Hey.
2013, 10 years, 11 years ago, but it's total shit.
Yeah, didn't the mayor take away the tents for the Chinese to come and visit?
Yeah, I heard that. When that Z dude came, they took the tents down for a week.
And that Vance dude, like, what is going on with his eye shadow or whatever? Like,
Yeah,
it's
here he
fucked
is.
up.
He was in the military. I criticized his and most importantly,
Totally wearing eyeshadow.
eyeliner.
He's all
Totally,
dolled up.
Yeah.
He's
That
dolled
doesn't
up.
seem normal.
I don't think he has sex with his wife. That's my theory.
So he does fornicate with couches? Like, what's that all about?
His street shitter wife.
Why
So
does
it's a
Tim
total
Walsh
shit
look
show.
like an Oompa Loompa in a lot of those pictures and videos? Like, he looks like the Oompa Loompa.
God.
Yeah. So how
again,
did
you
we
guys,
end up
like, he
here?
was
How
a
did
reality.
we?
Okay,
How did
real quick.
we end up in this situation? We
That's
got
what I'm saying. Like,
both candidates and their
Simpsons played it out.
counterparts suck.
All right, ready.
Whoa,
Whoa,
go
wait a
ahead.
minute.
People love
Just
trash.
lay it out. Simpsons played it out. Idiocracy played it out. He wears an orange face. He was a reality TV star show saying
Yeah.
you're fired. Like, come on, you guys. Like,
That's the new.
Oh, look at this
Minnesota
guy.
flag.
All right,
Like
ready.
shit.
like
Whoa,
he's a
wait a minute.
clown. This is like
Look how
straight
much
up.
he's aged though in like just a few years from the other
Yeah,
video.
but that's Obama. So Obama in 3 months, his hair grade in 3 months. He went to a Geneva
I
conference.
think he just stopped using Just for Men.
There, that's better.
I mean, who fucking knows? Who knows? I mean, I don't know if he's a clone at this point or, he's not a reptilian. I don't believe in that shit. Moving on.
Look at this shit. He put in the new Minnesota flag that looks like the Somali flags. And the people in Minnesota, they call the Mall of America. Everyone calls it the Mall of Somalia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that for a while.
Yeah, they do. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
It's no fucking joke, dude.
I know. And thinking
They took
about
that shit over.
actually like the heritage of the Upper Canada area, which what they've discovered with the Vikings, which is, I mean, there's deeper connections, obviously. This is, Shem and I did some shit together. We did, and Bernie knows this little series I started, Pareidolia Dreams. But we did this Eastern European migration kind of thing. Yeah, anyway, it connects to what you're showing. Like that there was, well, who was that guy who did that expose? The Vikings, the tablets, northern Minnesota area.
What tablets? What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Here, what's his name? Come on, guys. Someone help me.
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Right? Hold on. It's coming. I can see his face. He did that whole thing.
Gary
He did the
Hubbard,
whole-
right?
No, because you're
No?
thinking of the Burrow Cave.
Yeah.
Which is
Oh,
legit.
no, that's
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Talking
damn,
about the
rest in peace,
Vikings.
headphone user.
The
Look at
Viking tablets. Anyway,
this.
in Minnesota.
This is Kamala's rally. Look at it's all white people. 100% white people.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's like Where's Waldo trying to find a brown person.
Seriously.
Wow.
Well, there was a woman right there, obviously, and obviously it's heavily mixed. Regardless, I know what you're saying. Like that's so.
It might depend on the state.
I don't see any.
Right there, that woman in front of you. She was obviously
What-
heavily white, but
Front of
she
me.
was mixed.
What
You can see
state
it in
is
her
this?
face. Come on.
One
Okay, they
mixed
did it. It was
lady.
it was played. It was played. Look at those two. Those two
There
right
was
there.
that
that's
one
couple.
the one
They're
lady from
Hispanic.
Niger.
Come on center
Couple.
stage, okay?
Come on, Mike. Come on.
That's Kamala.
I'm white as fuck, but I know my Hispanics. It came from Milwaukee. Milwaukee's like
What's-
the most. Sorry.
What state was this?
All right, man. My boy's crying again. This
Oh
dude's-
yeah.
Dang it. All right, I'm gonna shut it down. Thanks
All right.
everyone that was here.
Yeah. Thanks, bro.
Appreciate
Big
everyone.
time.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
All right, you too,
Hey,
man.
bud.
All right, take
Appreciate
care.
it. Good night.
Much love.